That's right. It's time for The Herd, and I'm Chris Broussard with my man, Jason McIntyre. What's up, brother?
Hey, great to be here, Chris.
It's always great to be on with you. We got some great topics, and we start off with our man, King LeBron James.
Really? We're going to start with LeBron?
We're going to start with LeBron.
I'm shocked.
As we do every day here on The Herd. When Colin Cowherd, of course, is hosting. But look, I think there's a new mural in Los Angeles. We all know the story about how the first mural about LeBron James was destroyed, was vandalized, defaced by Kobe Bryant fans. But now there's a new one, and I gotta admit, I think it's more appropriate. I like the new mural. I like the old one, but I get why the fans of Kobe Bryant were upset about it. But I love this new one. I think it's great. And the question that I have is, what does LeBron James have to do to get up there on top of the mural with Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Wilt Chamberlain? One quick note. They left out the logo. They left out Jerry West, which I think was disrespectful and just wrong. I would have put him in over Wilt Chamberlain, but I got no problem with Wilt. But Jerry West should have been on there. But the bottom line is, what does LeBron James have to do with the Lakers to get on top of the mural rather than standing there looking up to those great all-time Lakers?
Murals, huh? We talk about murals.
Murals. Not a game, murals.
Chris, here's what annoys me about this whole mural situation, okay? For starters, LeBron looking up at Kobe, Shaq, Magic, I'm fine with that, because when he takes the Staples Center every night, he's going to look in the rafters and see the jerseys. Right. He knows he's on the stage. But what really gets me about this mural situation is it feels like Lakers fans are living in the past. You know? You know who lives in the past, Chris? Losers.
What?
Guys who walk around wearing their high school letter jackets,
so
reminiscing about
just
their
because you never got a high school letter jacket, don't get mad at the dudes that did.
When they were dominant and they were so great. Chris, I don't get it.
You sounded like a hater.
Well, I'm not hating. I just don't get the mural looking back. Like, think about this. Look at it this way. LeBron James and the Lakers are going to do great. That we know that they're going to be fine. And in life, I like forward momentum. Okay, I don't want to look back at the past of Magic and Shaq.
This
and Kobe.
is on.
But here it is.
Okay.
You look forward in life. We need that forward momentum. And you can't just make leaps to, okay, LeBron's going to win a title or two or three, and then he's going to be on par with them. You need incremental gains. Chris, think about this. I know you started working out a lot more recently, right? Start lifting at the gym. I've seen you in there. You're getting big. And
I've been lifting since 8th grade, man. It doesn't show, but I've been lifting since 8th grade.
So you don't show up and put up 2 plates. And, oh, yeah, I'm taking all the way. I'm going to put slowly. You start with the 25s and work your way up. This is step 1 of LeBron's Laker path. He's on the right path, and I think by year 2 or 3, you get to the finals, you take down what I believe is the greatest dynasty in NBA history, being Golden State Warriors, and I think at that point, we're not going to have any discussions about LeBron being on the same level. Will you answer
the question?
Did I just not do that?
What does LeBron James have to do to get up on top of the mural with Kobe, Shaq, Magic, Kareem, Wilt?
In a year or two?
No.
Not this year. Because
in his time with the Lakers,
year,
it could be 4 years, which his contract is. It could be 5, 6, however long he continues to play in. I assume he's going to retire with the Lakers.
He just takes down the Warriors 1 year. The greatest dynasty takes them down. He's right there on the mural. That's all he needs to do.
Okay.
I don't want to hear this. Magic won 5. Magic got to the Lakers when he was 20. Okay?
Nobody's
Kobe
saying
got
that.
to the Lakers when he was 18. LeBron's 33 and a half years old, okay? Wilt Chamberlain is the more likely comparison. Wilt got to the Lakers at 32. I just feel like this pressure to do some damage this year and win 2 titles. Slow your roll, Laker fans.
The mural doesn't say this year. I don't think anybody is expecting a title this year. Nobody's saying LeBron's got to win a title this year.
They're contenders.
And nobody's saying, whatever you want to call it, there's one contender, Golden State. All right, that's it. They're going to win it. All right. Nobody's expecting him to win a title. And nobody is saying, look at this mural. He's got to win 5 like Kobe and Kareem and Magic did with the Lakers. Nobody even saying he has to win 3 like Shaq did with the Lakers. But we are saying you got to win 1. This isn't just a swan song retirement. Let me go to L.A. where the weather's great. Let me get my Hollywood stuff on. Let me get my business stuff on. Let me prepare for life after basketball. Yeah. Championship. Only one. I agree with you. He only has to win one.
That's it.
He doesn't have to bring two. Two would be great. But, nobody, you're right. He's older. Nobody's expecting 5 like the young guys.
But I don't think
But one is necessary.
I think Laker fans would be happy with one title. This is, remember, Laker fans need a reality check. Last 5 years in the NBA, who has the worst record? LA Lakers.
Okay.
The Lakers are lucky LeBron came here. They are lucky.
Yes.
That LeBron James, the best player.
Just like Cleveland was and Miami was. They were lucky.
They were.
They were fortunate that he went there. But
I don't remember. Well, actually, I do remember what happened in Miami. LeBron came out and said, we're not winning not 1, not 2, not 3. And he learned from his mistakes, Chris. He learned, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
I'm not coming out and boasting about I'm going to win multiple titles. You learn your lessons
He's been
when you're younger.
Preaching patience ever since.
So whoever these mural artists are, guys, let's relax, okay?
Wait,
LeBron's going to be fine.
You don't like the mural?
Well, I mean,
you think that mural's an insult to LeBron? It's not an insult.
It just feels like it's living in the past.
How?
Showtime Lakers.
Wait. Why in the world did they even hire Magic Johnson? Because of the past.
He's the
Magic's
closer.
never shown that he would be a great president of basketball. Now he has. But before that, he didn't have those qualifications. It was because of what he did in the past. You just said it earlier. When you look up in the rafters of Staples Center, what do you see? All the jerseys, all the banners, the past. Why in the world did LeBron James even go to the Lakers? The past. Yeah. He wasn't going to some rinky-dink franchise that had never won. So you can't divorce the great past of the Lakers with what LeBron James has to do in the future. And I don't think this is an insult at all to LeBron.
No.
You're putting him in the class of the greatest players ever.
You would agree defacing the first one was an insult to LeBron.
Oh, yeah. That was Kobe fans, zealous Kobe fans.
The 18 Kobe fans out there who hate LeBron James, who can't get over it, who wear the Kobe jerseys to the Summer League games. And
you wear a Lakers jerseys to summer.
I wear a Magic Johnson
the real game.
Right, don't be putting that Instagram photo on the show.
So you can wear a Magic Johnson jersey, but not a Kobe Bryant?
I was a Magic Johnson fan growing up. He was my favorite player. I absolutely love Magic. I got my kids LeBron jerseys this week. They will be embracing LeBron.
They don't have Kobe jerseys?
They do not have Kobe Bryant jerseys. I just got to LA 2 years ago.
I feel some angst toward Kobe.
Don't put me on the spot on Kobe. I'm just listen. I think Magic is. I'm cool with Magic being the king of LA. Okay, he's the president of the Lakers. He just brought in LeBron. I'm cool with LeBron, who we both agree second best player in NBA history. Yes. I'm cool with him being the king of LA. I got no problem with that.
LeBron, king of LA. That was the problem people had with that mural. King of LA. I think the mural, and this is not LeBron's fault at all. He didn't paint the mural. He didn't assign the guy to paint it. Yeah. But I think the mural should have said, "Welcome to LA, King James. Welcome to LA, comma, King James." That would have been fine. I don't know that gets defaced. But King of LA was a little disrespectful to not only Kobe Bryant, but also Magic Johnson and Kareem and Shaq and all the great Lakers players. They won titles. Kobe just retired a few years ago with a 60-piece. Remember that?
How many shots?
And now 50, you're saying that LeBron, who steps in here and has not even, forget winning a game, not even played a game with the Lakers, and all of a sudden he's the king of
King
LA?
James. That's his nickname, James.
His nickname's King James, not King of LA.
Well, if you're the king of the NBA, King James, and you come to the Lakers, how are you not the king of LA?
He might be the king right now, present time.
Right.
As far as the players, but as far as the past, which is a part of it, Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, Shaq, Kareem, they're the kings of the Lakers.
They were the kings.
Did you just say Magic?
Okay.
Well, what's the difference?
Well, Magic's with the Lakers, Chris. He's running the show. He brought in LeBron. He's signing free agents. He's probably going to get another superstar next year. He is okay being the king right now. But these other guys who were here previously, they're not the kings anymore.
Kobe just left a minute ago.
Oh, jeez.
You act like Kobe Bryant wasn't something special.
I don't want to go down this Kobe road.
Go down. Say it with your chest.
Kobe had a great career.
Don't be getting up here freezing now.
Yeah, you do know why the last 5 years were the 5 worst years in Lakers franchise history, right?
Yeah, because they didn't have any good players.
And because Kobe demanded a lot of money, and they couldn't sign
Name a
anybody.
dynasty.
And Kobe
How did the
ran
Bulls
Dwight
do
Howard
without
out of town.
How did the Bulls do when Michael Jordan
all
left?
right.
They
So-
went in the tank. It happens. It always happens.
Keep defending your boy.
No, I'm just giving truth. But look, you are saying that the Rockets, another team in the West, have had the worst offseason of any contender in the NBA.
I mean, there's no disagreement there.
And with Melo coming in, you think it's about to get even worse.
Yes.
We'll hit that next. Can't wait. All right, here we are back on the herd. Chris Broussard and Jason McIntyre. You got a lot to say about the Houston Rockets. I don't like it all, but go ahead and share.
Wait a sec. Wait, what do you mean you don't like it, Chris? I only speak facts up here, okay? That's all I'm doing, spitting facts. I mean, let me push it. Let me start with you. So they're about to add Carmelo Anthony by all accounts, right?
Yep. By all accounts.
Are they going to get better? Adding a ball-stopping guy who don't want to play defense, don't want to go to the bench. I actually believe, Chris, the Houston Rockets got worse. I think they're going to go from 65 wins to about 5th in the West. If I'm looking at how free agency shook out in the draft, I'm ready to present to you my top 8 in the West. There are a couple surprises.
Yeah, that's one. Now, I will admit, before we look at your list, I do agree that the Rockets are worse right now than they were 5 months
That's
ago.
undeniable.
3 months ago.
I mean, they lost.
Losing Trevor Ariza, Luke Baamute, those were good defenders.
2 of their top 7 players.
Yes, and 2 really good defenders, too. And that's what they missed is the defense. I think they'll still be very good, but not quite what they were. But let's take a look at your list. I will respond to it. I'll tell you where you're right.
Okay. So we're going to start with the
wrong.
Warriors,
You're
best
right
team in the league.
One.
Nailed that one, right? I mean, they just nailed it. I am a believer in LeBron James
Lakers.
as a plus 15 win guy. I think the Lakers go from 35 to about 50, 52 wins.
You think
in that
50
area.
wins is second seed?
Well, okay. Well, let me get to it. So the 3rd seed, Utah Jazz. So last year, 3 through 8 won 49 to 47 games. Very tiny window. I believe the Rockets come way back to the pack. I think the Lakers are 2. I think the Utah Jazz are on the rise. I love that team defensively, what we saw in the second half and in the playoffs. I like Donovan Mitchell a lot. And I believe for the OKC Thunder, losing Carmelo Anthony is addition by subtraction, Chris. I think listen, I don't love the Thunder. We'll get to the Dennis Schroeder trade shortly. But I feel like the Rockets could win 47, 48 games and tumble to 5th. You're going to see
47 games? James Harden wins 47, more than 47 games by himself.
How's Mike D'Antoni and Melo going to get along? How's that going to work out?
Melo's no longer the king. Okay. Since you like the king term so much, he's no longer the king. When they battled in
Melo
New York,
understands that.
When they battled in New York, it was his franchise. He definitely understands it's not his franchise. He is, at best, I think he's actually 4th, maybe 5th in the pecking order. Because you got Eric Gordon.
Over Melo. You're going to tell Carmelo
at this point in his career, you got Clint Capella.
But selling that to Melo.
He understands, and they'll talk to him. So, come on, 47 wins?
47.
That's crazy.
Denver Nuggets on the rise. Love the IT4 pickup. Minnesota Timberwolves. Shout to Jimmy Butler and the Portland Trailblazers at 8. So 2 teams not on there. I'm sure heads are exploding.
Yeah, my head is about to
they're driving
explode.
around or watching this. No San Antonio Spurs and no New Orleans Pelicans. Fire away, Chris. Good luck,
J-Mac.
Good luck doing some damage there.
I always feel like I'm just correcting you. And
look at
my
Chris's
list.
list,
Look at my
everybody.
list.
Look at Chris's
Because you know
list.
what? It's July. I don't have to do a list right now, but
Yes, you do.
I will tell you what's wrong with your list. All right?
Wait. Hold on. So you're going 3 through 8. I don't know. You're playing the...
No, I'm saying in the West, you were right to say there were only 2 games that separated 3 through 8 last year, almost 3 through 9.
Yeah.
And they're all going to be close. So you've got Golden State, obviously. Houston still, I agree with you, they went down a notch. But they still are the second best team in the West.
Quickly
and
on the
then
Rockets.
You got how many teams? 7 teams battling for the last 5 or 6 playoffs. 8 teams battling for the last 6 playoffs.
Okay, hold on. Besides Carmelo, okay, we're looking at a Rockets team that led Game 7 against the Warriors at home at halftime by 11 and gagged it. They choked.
But they were playing against, as you said, the best team in NBA
dynasty,
history.
Yeah, best dynasty. So I just wonder, coming off that, Chris Paul's games have decreased the last 4 years as he gets up there in age. You just gave Chris Paul a bad contract. We would agree that 4-year deal is not a good one.
Should have been 3 years. But
Clint Capella not signed. They didn't make a big splash. I don't even know if they were in the mix for Paul George or Kawhi legitimately. They didn't really get in the mix with LeBron. It feels like a step back.
The step back is they lost Trevor Ariza and Luke Baamute. Okay, those are role players that brought great defense. Ariza was a winner, won a championship, and he stretched the floor to the three-point line. Okay, but Chris Paul, what they're going to do with him this year, he's probably not going to play as much, and they'll try to keep him ready for the playoffs. They don't need him to play during the regular season.
They don't need Chris Paul.
They were great during the regular season.
Who needs his defense on the perimeter? They got, what's this, Ennis that you love?
James Ennis. He's a good defender.
Yeah. I mean, he's basically an all-star, right, in your book?
No, I didn't say that, but neither is Trevor Ariza or Luke Baamute. And they'll get back Clint Capella. Carmelo Anthony will be fine. I'm not saying he's going to be a world beater. I'm not saying he lifts them above the Warriors, but he will be fine. He will help their mid-range game. They got one mid-range shooter. That's Chris Paul. And you saw when they lost to Golden State in the playoffs, they missed 27 straight threes.
I was just
when you miss
Chris,
27 straight threes, move in a little bit and shoot a 15.
Chris, we have breaking news. Hold on. The Rockets just missed another three-pointer. That's 37 in a row now. I mean, come on. This team is headed downhill.
No, they're not.
Downhill.
They're still going to be very good. They're going to be the second best. Now, I don't care about record. Okay, Golden State was the best team in the West last year, but they had the second best record.
Right.
So we don't care. When you start playing for championships, it's not just about let's go win 65 games. They won't win 65. They're not really trying to win 65.
Why are you chickening it out and not putting a team in?
I'm not chickening it out. It's just not time for that.
We can make adjustments
I will tell you
October.
this. You're going to make adjustments probably next month.
No, not next. Nothing's happening.
When I make my predictions, I stick with them all year.
I'm sticking with this and riding with it.
All year you're sticking with this.
Why not?
You just said in October you're going to change.
Can I go in on the Spurs now or no?
No, well, I'm going to lead you there.
Okay.
The San Antonio Spurs and the New Orleans Hornets will make the playoffs. Both of them. Guaranteed.
Anthony
Davis, who's not
huh?
going to make it? Portland, I think, is in trouble.
Oh, so they're going from the 3 seed to out.
It was only 3 games difference. Portland could be out. And Denver, as much as I like them, it's the West. They could be out. But I would definitely take San Antonio, New Orleans above Portland and Denver.
So, I don't know if we have time here. I don't want to bash Greg Popovich too much. But have you looked at his starting backcourt and the three-point ability the Spurs have right now? Murray, a nice player, 21 years old. He made 9 three-pointers last year.
Okay.
He's your point guard.
Okay.
He shot 26% last year.
He's a very good young point guard.
He is very good. He can't shoot three-pointers. He made
That's okay.
9 of them
Neither
last
can
year.
Ben Simmons. Is he good?
No. Well, you're comparing Ben
Neither
Simmons
can Rajon
to DeJounte
Rondo.
Murray.
Is he good?
That's outstanding, Chris. The other starter in the backcourt for the Spurs, DeMar DeRozan. I love this stat. 31% from deep last year. So your starting backcourt can't shoot.
Okay.
DeMar DeRozan made 79 threes last year. Lonzo Ball made 80. And missed 30 games.
It's basketball. It's not a three-point shooting contest.
Wait a minute.
The Spurs didn't shoot a lot of threes last year to begin with. They won 47 games.
You're telling me the NBA isn't about three-pointers now?
No. I'm not saying it's not about that.
So you've got a team that
I'm
just
saying
lost
it's
Danny
not
Green,
all about that.
Kawhi Leonard, and you're replacing him basically starting backcourt can't shoot. We know Tony Parker's gone. We don't know. Is Manu Ginobili coming back? What's his deal? Pau Gasol, what is it, 36? This is an old team.
Yep.
I think Popovich played this Kawhi Leonard thing just horribly from the jump. So arrogant. I think he didn't want. Popovich has never had a losing season as a head coach.
You think he's about to?
Well, I think he didn't want to, and he ruined what I think could be the Spurs' future by
what
taking
were they supposed
DeMar
to do?
DeRozan. I think you could. I would have gone for draft picks. Try to get as many draft picks as you can.
How's that worked out for Sacramento?
I don't.
They
want
got
DeMar
4 lottery
DeRozan's.
picks on their team. How good are they?
I don't want DeMar DeRozan's 3 years, $81 million in San Antonio for the next 3 years.
The Spurs remain relevant. Are they going to win a championship with this squad? No.
So why do it?
Because they're still a very good team that can go deep in the playoffs. In the Western Conference, they could get to the second round. They could finish anywhere from 3 to 8 in the West.
Is this really happening? You think
this
they
is
can
really
make a
happening.
run in the
They
playoffs?
didn't shoot a lot of threes last year.
Okay.
Greg Popovich's strength as a coach is that he plays to the strengths of his players. He's not going to fit a square peg into a round hole or even try. Okay? When he had the Twin Towers with David Robinson and Tim Duncan, he went that route. Played big. When Robinson left, he went through Tim Duncan. When Duncan got old, Tony Parker became the focal point of the offense with the high pick and roll. They've gone from being a defensive-oriented team to an offensive-oriented team that featured a lot of three-point shooting. They beat Miami in 2014. That team fades away. Duncan retires. They go to ISO with Kawhi Leonard and LaMarcus Aldridge. He adjusts. That's one of the great things about Pop. He will adjust to this team. You're right. They don't have great three-point shooting, but they didn't shoot a lot of threes last year, and they won 47 games without a DeMar DeRozan or Kawhi Leonard. Now you add DeMar DeRozan to a 47-win team, and they're going to get worse.
How many Hall of Famers they have this past season? So Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Pau Gasol.
They're old. They're not
they're a year older, and they lost Parker.
They're not the key, though. The keys are
gosh.
LaMarcus Aldridge and DeMar DeRozan.
Okay. We'll see how that works out for them. No playoffs for the Spurs. Take it to the bank, people.
Bold prediction. Speaking of bold, let's go to Herdline News with veteran newsman John Goulet.
No.
Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
It's a great transition, Chris. I'm very impressed. Despite the Raptors' trade for Kawhi Leonard, the Lakers are still the favorites to land him in free agency next season. However, there is another team emerging in the race for Kawhi. According to Bruce Arthur of the Toronto Star, he was told by a source that Kawhi has reached out to other stars in the league about potentially joining him in Brooklyn. Now, they have a ton of cap space. Remember, Butler and Kyrie are rumored to go to Brooklyn as well. Is Brooklyn like a real free agent destination in 2019, guys?
Look, Sean Marks, the GM there, here's the connection. He was in San Antonio. So that's where people are getting this, hey, maybe Brooklyn. They will have plenty of money. Guess who? I'm not saying anybody's going there, but guess who grew up an avid Brooklyn Nets, or at that time, New Jersey Nets fan? He'll be a free agent too. Kyrie Irving. So everybody's talking New York, and I think Kyrie's talking New York too.
They're
not a destination.
Let me dump water on this nonsense, okay? Kawhi Leonard is suddenly texting players, hey, do you want to team up in Brooklyn? That's nothing in his DNA screams, I'm texting players to former super team. That is a little crazy.
It seems a little far-fetched.
It feels like the Nets have been rumored to sign people for 10 years, and they've yet to sign a big-name free agent.
You're absolutely right, because remember when LeBron was a free agent in 2010, everybody thought he might go there because of Jay-Z. It was similar to Drake in Toronto, like he's going to start drawing.
They were going to sign
Raptors.
Dwight Howard too.
That's right.
Never really worked
and
out.
Melo, they were in the Melo chase.
Right.
Ooh,
good thing they missed on that one.
Chase. They're the bridesmaid. That's it.
When it was announced that Boogie Cousins was signing a one-year deal with the Warriors, obviously there was a big social media backlash. According to Cousins, though, he loves that the decision is causing so much anger among basketball fans. Listen to what he said.
I knew how I would be perceived from some.
Come on, one more. Awesome.
I give a I'm saying that now because I've seen the reaction, but I didn't give a I knew what my ace was, and we made the call. There's some motherfuckers out there that's probably ripping their hair out right now, and I love it.
Guys, did everyone kind of overreact a little bit to this whole news? Do you kind of like his response to everybody?
I'm fine with his response. He shouldn't care. What Boogie Cousins should be focused on is just going there, fitting in, winning a championship, and trying to change his reputation as a guy that destroys locker rooms and doesn't win.
Oh, it's well said, reputation. I watched that clip, and I just look at Boogie Cousins like, I don't give a bleep, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're going to have to change your attitude. If you go into the Warriors locker room and you're acting like that, Steve Kerr, Kevin Durant, Curry, they're going to just be like, dude, see ya. You had a nice run. You got to clean it up, DeMarcus Cousins.
I would say clean it up, though, for the other team. He's not going to disrupt Golden State.
If he goes in there with that Isaiah Thomas mentality, what's happening in Cleveland? Well, listen, he's looking at a big payday.
He'd be nuts.
This is his year to get a big payday like Isaiah Thomas in Cleveland. Isaiah Thomas, guys, let's go practice. Hey, Kevin Love, what's going on? Boogie Cousins need to know his role in that locker room.
I agree.
Dude, you are to be not heard from. You're to listen to instructions from Curry and Durant.
Well, look, he's going to be a personality in there, and that's fine.
That's not going to play well.
It's fine for him to
Nick
be a
Young
personality.
Cleaned his act up.
Just understand who you are. Clean it up. But I'm saying he's going to, look, you don't want him not being who he is. He's going to be a personality, okay? Draymond's a personality.
Be a personality in Sacramento,
Chris. Just understand your role. Don't get the technicals. Understand that you're not the main guy.
He's going to flip that switch like Carmelo. You're so optimistic, Chris.
Well, I love your optimism. You just said Nick Young and JaVale McGee changed.
They were never big-time stars. Carmelo and Boogie were stars. And they're looking to recapture that glory. And I don't think a leopard can just change his spots.
You think Boogie's going in there talking about 25 points and 10
I don't think
rebounds
Boogie can just change his personality
Boogie
and his mindset.
Boogie better get happy with 12 points and 8 or 9 rebounds.
Tell his agent that.
Oh, I'm telling you. Agent, Boogie, 12 points, 9 rebounds, a championship, good behavior, and you get a better contract next summer.
And finally, according to a report in the Boston Sports Journal, nothing has been hashed out between Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and Robert Kraft with regards to the tension between them. The report also stated Belichick continues to be irritated that Kraft is increasingly interjected himself into areas that were largely Belichick's domain. This includes Kraft's deferring to Brady and his role in the retention of Josh McDaniels. Is this the last season we see the three of them kind of work together? Do you think they hit a boiling point at some point this year?
I think they're going to be fine. And here's why. These reports and this tension, we all caught wind of it midway through last season, or maybe 2/3 through last season. Did it stop them? Did it hurt them in the playoffs? No. Now, the one difference, I think, is that Bill Belichick, with the benching of Malcolm Butler in the Super Bowl, that rubbed players, including Brady, the wrong way. That was the first, all the things they could have said about Belichick before, they never could have said he doesn't have winning as the number one priority. Benching Malcolm Butler, I think, put some question marks in guys' heads. So that's the one problem, but I think they'll be able to overcome it because that's been their track record.
I'll keep this short and sweet. They will be good, but they will take a step back. I'm in Vegas next week. I will be taking the under on the Patriots season win total. Remember, Chris, this is a team that should have lost to the Jags in the AFC title game at home, down 10 with 9 minutes left.
That's
in the Super Bowl.
How many times they been down and come back?
Over 600 yards and 41 points to Nick Foles, a backup quarterback. I think the Patriots have bigger problems than Brady Belichick. That defense, I don't think is going to be there. Tough first place schedule. Take the under on the Patriots season win total.
All right. It's not Brady Belichick, though.
That's the news.
It's the other
thanks
stuff.
for stopping by.
That's what
the
you're saying?
Herd Line
Body
news.
of work, baby.
All right. Well, let's welcome in one of our great guests. I'm excited about this guy. He speaks his mind, had a very good NBA career. Antonio Daniels. What's happening, brother? How you doing, my man? Good to see you.
My man, Antonio.
We're going to talk Carmelo Anthony with you. You
Yeah,
just witnessed him for a whole season. And now,
I'm sorry for that. You had to witness that. I feel
I'm still
bad.
tripping on your top 8.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
thank you.
I'm still tripping on your top 8.
Thank you.
Can we start there?
Go
Can we
ahead.
just
Yeah,
with the top
start
eight? What
there.
you got,
Go ahead.
Antonio? Let's show the top 8 on the screen and let Antonio pick it apart.
Thank you,
Number
Antonio.
one,
Awesome
the Lakers
point guard.
at 2.
You don't like that.
The Lakers at 2.
Who you got?
The one thing that all these other teams that we're talking about that the majority of these teams have is either a Hall of Fame coach or familiarity with one another.
That's a good point.
The Lakers don't. They don't. So
Luke
LeBron,
Walton's not in the Hall of Fame. Come on, he had the Warriors at
LeBron,
24-0.
number one, LeBron's not going to play 82 games either.
No, he should
He
not.
played 82 games a year ago. He's not going. And you're talking about a plus 15 win total
So what do you put
from last year?
You got 45 wins?
Maybe.
Maybe
45.
So you got Lakers in the playoffs, yes or no?
Yes, I do have the Lakers to play, but I don't have them as a number 2 seed.
Woo.
And to have the San Antonio Spurs out of the playoffs.
Thank you.
Is that
Okay,
disrespectful?
that's completely disrespectful.
No.
And you know that, though. You know that. Greg Popovich is Greg Popovich. So I don't have to say anything about Pop.
Yep.
But the fact that you got that drama out of your locker room and Kawhi Leonard, and with that drama, this team still had a very successful season a year ago. Now you bring in a DeMar DeRozan. I get your point. DeMar DeRozan is not a three-point shooter, nor DeJounte Murray. But you know what? DeMar DeRozan was also an all-star.
In the East.
Also, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That does not take away from his body of work. Also, you brought in Marco Bellinelli. You brought him back. Heck of a shooter.
Heck of a defender as well.
So basically what we're saying is you have to be a 3-and-D guy. There's not many Klay Thompsons in the league.
Yeah.
There are not many of those guys in the league. So you're going to be good at one or the other. It's not very many guys in this league that are good at both.
So you got Spurs ahead of the Lakers in the West?
I do have the Spurs ahead of the
Boy.
Lakers.
Where you got your Thunder?
I got the Thunder at 4.
Rockets?
Possibly 3. I got the Rockets at 2.
You and Broussard, huh?
Tell me, going quickly back to the Spurs, he's hung up on their lack of three-point shooting. How do you think Popovich counters it? Because I think one of the great strengths of Pop is that he adjusts to what he has. You hit the nail on the head,
Chris. You hit the nail. One of the things about Pop that is fantastic that they do on the floor is his ability to adjust to the players that he has. Fantastic. So you look at 3 different decades. He has won championships in 3 different decades, and he's won them 3 different ways. Yep. In 99, we won the championship. We played inside out. We played through Tim and Dave. We weren't shooting the ball without Tim or Dave touching that basketball. Then you move on to the 2002, where they played just through really Tim. But Manu was there, and Tony was there. And then it goes to another level of Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili. Yep. And then they went to another level of a Kawhi Leonard, LaMarcus Aldridge. So Pop's ability to adjust to the rule changes, and to his personnel. Not very many coaches can do that. A lot of coaches in this league can coach one way, one style. Pop has a number of different ways that he can play, and he finds a way to bring out the best in his players.
So you have zero concern that they're losing 2 starters and they lose a veteran presence in the locker room in Tony Parker. No concern whatsoever.
Oh, I do have concern.
Okay.
I would be foolish to say, no, there's no concern whatsoever. Yeah,
but
I do.
Still better than the Lakers.
Yes, because the thing is, the concern doesn't start with Tony Parker leaving or with Kawhi Leonard leaving. The concern started when Tim Duncan left.
Yes, that's a good point.
That's when it started. So we can talk about everything that's going on now. It's a heck of an adjustment period now. Since Tim Duncan has left, LaMarcus Aldridge has to be out. Yeah. Since Tim Duncan left, Kawhi Leonard has to be out. And now Pop and LaMarcus sat down and ironed that whole thing out. But now the culture in San Antonio is starting to change.
Okay. All right. Speaking of culture and change, Carmelo Anthony looks like he's going to go to the Houston Rockets. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to be fine. I
do too.
Okay, so not surprisingly, J-Mac hates the move.
I know.
You saw he got Houston at 5th with 47 wins, which is beyond. I can't even
Houston
imagine
going
that.
back 18 games.
Explain to me how Carmelo Anthony, Antonio, is all of a sudden, after 15 years of being a ball-centric, I need the ball shooter, I'm not coming off the bench, all that stuff that he's done over the last 15 years in the NBA, how is that suddenly going to change? And he's going to accept a role and sit back and maybe try to play defense. How's that going to change overnight?
Like we talked about yesterday, I think Houston offers Carmelo Anthony something that no other team in this league can offer them outside of Los Angeles Lakers. And that is their relationship with Chris Paul, a relationship with LeBron James that he doesn't have with anyone else. You know, when your close friends tell you something, you take it to heart. And if those guys are as cool as they say they are, meaning Chris Paul and Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony, if I ask you for the better of this team to come off the bench because it's what's best for us, you being my boy and understanding I don't have anything to gain by telling you that.
Okay. If that is all true about Carmelo, how come LeBron didn't get him in Cleveland? How come LeBron didn't make a play for him with the Lakers?
That's a great question. That's a great question. And LeBron James can answer that question.
Yeah,
I can't.
He could. I don't think he
I'm
will.
going to be honest. Yeah, LeBron can answer that question. I can't. But I tell you what, nowadays, we underestimate how powerful relationships are within players. Chris Paul and James Harden, they talked about playing together. There's a reason Paul George stayed in Oklahoma City, because his relationship with Oklahoma City. So, I mean, with Russell Westbrook. So if we don't think that Carmelo Anthony going to Houston has anything to do with the relationship that he has with Chris Paul, like you said yesterday, understand what he's doing. Yeah. Him and Mike D'Antoni didn't get along. Their relationship with Chris Paul is stronger.
Yep, and we're going to get to Oklahoma City. You brought them up. We'll say more with Antonio Daniels coming up next. It's The Herd. All right, welcome back to The Herd. It's Chris Broussard, Jason McIntyre in for Colin Cowherd, and we have Antonio Daniels with us having a great conversation. So good, we decided to keep you over for another segment.
And that suit is sharp, too.
He's sharp, man. He's sharp. Look, Oklahoma City, you do a lot of their games. You watched all last year. They just brought in Dennis Schroeder from Atlanta. Now, my first thought when I saw that trade was, is Schroeder going to be happy coming off the bench, or are they going to actually try to play him and Westbrook together? How do you think this works out in Oklahoma City?
I think it works great. From what I'm hearing, he had a great conversation with Sam Presti and with Billy Donovan about his role, being sixth man. Okay? And I'll tell you the biggest difference between Schroeder being in Atlanta and Schroeder being in Oklahoma City, as far as his mentality is concerned, is who he's playing behind. So when you're in Atlanta and you're playing behind a guy in Jeff Teague that you feel like you're better than, it's going to bring something different out in you. When you come to Oklahoma City and you understand that you are playing behind Russell Westbrook, last year's league MVP, a guy that's averaged a triple-double 2 years in a row, you're going to play your role. If your role means coming off the bench, scoring when needed, and also playing alongside Russell Westbrook and giving this team some versatility, giving them some options, taking the ball out of Russell's hands, running him off screens and giving him live pick and rolls, and you have another playmaker and ball handler out there in Schroeder.
Can I play devil's advocate?
Please do.
You always
It's
do.
a role I embrace here.
That's your nickname.
At FS1. Dennis Schroeder, a bit of a prickly personality. Is that safe? He's jostled with Isaiah Thomas, several other players. He played 31 minutes a game last year. He was the alpha in Atlanta, the number one guy, ball in his hands all the time. Shot 29% from deep. How is he going to adjust to that role of, hey, man, Westbrook's having a good game. We're not going to need you as much tonight, Dennis. You can't play Dennis Schroeder, Russell Westbrook, and Roberson on the floor at the same time. Those are three sub 30% three-point shooters. So in a league where three-point shooting's so vital.
I was going to say, you hung up on this three-point shooting.
Isn't it?
Everything has to do with three-point shooting. Right? But go ahead. Go ahead. I get what you're saying.
Golden State was, I think, 25th in the league in three-pointers attempted last year. People forget that.
What was their percentage? What were
percentage was great.
Yes.
But they didn't shoot. They still play mid-range basketball a lot of the time.
When I look at the Thunder, I do think they're better than last year. I think they're going to be ahead of the Rockets in the West. Losing Carmelo, I think, helps more than any moves they made. I do like the Grant signing. They kept Jeremy Grant, right? So 1 through 8, this is a really good team. But do you think Schroeder, as he's asking, is going to be able to handle that role of, hey, man, we need you 18 minutes tonight. We only need you 12 tonight?
I'll say this, and Chris just brought up a great point. If Schroeder wanted his own team, he would have stayed in Atlanta. Meaning.
Wait, did he have a choice?
No, meaning. He would have stayed in Atlanta, kept his mouth shut, and had his own team.
That's tough.
He's
popped
24
off.
years
He
old.
popped off because he wanted to get traded.
Before they took Trae Young, too.
Right,
It wasn't like
right.
24-year-old popping off.
But what I'm saying is what we're acting like is like he didn't have his own team. And that's what you hear with this is a lot of Reggie Jackson comparisons.
Yes.
Is this Reggie Jackson again? The difference between Dennis Schroeder and Reggie Jackson is Reggie Jackson had yet to start. He had yet to have his own team when he was in Oklahoma City. So he didn't know what that was like. Dennis Schroeder has had his own team. And if he wanted to keep his own team in Atlanta because of the amount they paid him and the amount of confidence they showed in him, he would have kept his mouth shut and played his role.
But he did have a good playoffs, I believe. Was it 2 or 3 years ago? He had a good first round. I believe Schroeder. This guy's a rising point guard. He's not a top 15 point guard.
No, but he's a legitimate starter.
The thing we have to understand is you can be good in this league without shooting three-pointers.
Can you?
You can. Yes, you can. DeMar DeRozan was an all-star. Ben Simmons won Rookie of the Year.
Ben Simmons is the exception.
Giannis Antetokounmpo is one of the best players in the league.
He just brought you three off the top of his head.
I'll give you two great
my goodness.
What I'm saying is we can't base everything off three-point shooting. And I get it. In today's NBA, it's a pace and space league. Mm-hmm. So you want guys that can stretch the floor, especially when you have stars. But there are other guys that aren't three-point shooters, and they can be just as effective. Yes. For DeMar DeRozan to be an all-star, multi-time all-star, without shooting the
all NBA too.
Wow. Analytically, he's not the greatest of player. Dennis Schroeder, 19 and 6. Those are starting point guard numbers that you have.
You know who else wasn't great analytically? Kobe Bryant.
Quickly on DeRozan. 0 for 9 on threes when they got swept by the Cavs. Like, you can't shoot the three in this league. You're going to have problems in the postseason. Regular season's fine, not a big deal. But Russell Westbrook, we've seen him 2 years in a row now struggle from deep in the postseason. Regular season's one thing, but Antonio, this playoffs, you got to be able to space the floor and make threes.
I do agree. Those are two things you have to do. You have to be able to space the floor, and you have to be able to defend.
We've seen defenses collapse on Giannis in the postseason. He hasn't been to a conference finals yet. I know he's young. But all right.
Antonio,
So we
look,
making an excuse for
I'm
him.
being
He's
too
young.
negative.
No,
He's young.
I love the lessons that you're teaching my partner,
learning.
Jason
I'm learning.
McIntyre. I want to ask you about another one because we disagreed, not surprisingly, on the new mural in Los Angeles. What'd you think of? You've seen it. Here it is.
Yeah.
With Kobe, Shaq, Magic, Kareem, Wilt, and LeBron looking up to them. What are your thoughts on it?
Number one, I think it's unfair to LeBron.
Yes. Yeah.
I do. I think it's unfair to LeBron. This is a guy that hasn't even played a game in LA yet. And I'll tell you what's interesting about LeBron. The finish line is always moving for LeBron, no matter what. So we tell ourselves, well, you know what, man, if LeBron does this, then you can put him there, and then he does it. Well, now he needs to do this, and then he does it. Well, I tell you what, if he beats this 73-win Golden State team, and then he does it. Now we're putting him up there with guys like Kobe Bryant that played 20 years in L.A.
Well, but
Yes,
so
thank
what do you
you.
think?
He signed a 3-year deal with an option, and I understand how great LeBron is. But look at who he's up there with. Look at who he has
What do
not
you
even
think
played a game
so
yet.
what do you think that mural said? Because I think that mural is
That's
saying
something LeBron can
get
never
us
accomplish.
one. Well, he can't. Nobody expects him to win 5 or 3. Right? One.
Can
They want one.
Okay, if LeBron wins one championship, does that put him in the conversation with, this is what makes people hate LeBron James right here. This is what makes people hate LeBron. Things that he has no control over.
Yep.
So if I'm a Kobe Bryant lover, and Kobe Bryant spent his entire career in L.A., and now LeBron James comes here, and we are comparing LeBron James to Kobe Bryant as who's the king of L.A.?
Thank
or
you.
Shaquille
That was
O'Neal?
the first mural.
No, I'm just talking about just in general. So when LeBron James comes in the league and the media says, well, he's the chosen one, now that makes fans hate him because they're calling him arrogant and cocky. So these are the type of things that we put LeBron in that makes people hate him, and he has nothing to do with it.
See, I that's a strong point, but I just think the mural saying win one. That's it. Just one. They do expect
And, well,
one.
Antonio,
The
LA,
Lakers,
when
the
he wins
Lakers
one,
don't get excited
where's
about
the
the
second
second
one?
round
Exactly.
finish.
Where's the
So then once it's won, then you
Well,
got to go to the second one. because The finish line's
I
always
think they'll
moving.
stop at one. Look, we gonna talk about who's the real king of LA next on the Herd. Welcome back to the Herd. It's Chris Broussard and Jason McIntyre in for Colin Cowherd. Where do you think Colin is? He's got a day off.
Probably
skiing,
at
you
his
think?
second or third house, some
chilling
state
on the
somewhere.
beach.
Yeah.
He'll come back next week all tanned up.
Yes, he'll be texting
and
us
looking
right after
good.
this. Oh, dude, great points. That was outstanding.
Yes. Well, we've been talking about the king of LA. You think it's LeBron, and I would say presently, he is the best basketball player for sure, best athlete in the city. But, some people think it's still Kobe.
Oh.
I think Kobe's one of the kings. I think LeBron's one of the kings. And I think Magic Johnson, without a doubt, is one of the kings, if not the king of LA. And Magic never won to shy away from making big statements. Remember, Lonzo, gonna be as good as me, rafters, all that. Paul, he got in trouble with the tampering. Paul George couldn't keep quiet on their interest in Paul George. Yes. And last night he was on Jimmy Kimmel, and he had a little bit to say about the Golden State Warriors.
Yes.
I think that, we will look forward to that challenge, right? Everybody expects Golden State to win again, but I would love to have the challenge and to play them in the Western Conference Finals,
Right.
if we could get to that position. So I'm a competitor, so I'm not scared of Golden State. I'm not worried about Golden State. They don't keep me up at night. I know that we have a really solid team, and a good team, and a competitive team, and a tough-minded team. And we got guys now who are winners.
Look, I have no problem whatsoever with what Magic Johnson said. I will admit, when I first saw it, I chuckled a little bit when he said, I'm a competitor. I'm not scared of Golden State because, and Magic wasn't scared of anybody on the court, but he's not on the court anymore. It's easy to say sitting up in the office, you just got the best player in the world. I'm not scared of him because you ain't out there guarding Steph Curry now. But overall, I like the statement from Magic.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Chris, I'm one of these guys. I like to look at things differently. I'm an outsider, Obviously, I didn't play in the NBA. I haven't covered the league for 15 years like you. But when the first thing I see when I hear this quote is Daryl Morey's quote. I'm obsessed.
Daryl Morey.
I'm obsessed with the Warriors. Last year, that was a big story on the debate shows we do. Daryl Morey of the Rockets was obsessed with the Golden State
Let's
Warriors,
hear it.
and
Yeah.
we have the sound.
Okay.
How motivated are you to keep pace with the Warriors? I mean, it's the only thing we think about. I think I'm not supposed to say that, but I mean, we're basically obsessed with how do we beat the Warriors. We calculate it's like 90% if we're going to win a title, we've got to obviously beat the Warriors at some point. And so we're extremely focused on that. And a lot of our signings and, what we do during the year is based on that.
So you got one guy saying he's obsessed, and you have Magic Johnson laughing it off. Well, I don't lose sleep over it at night. I don't lose. I'm not worried about. I think
is one better than the other?
Well, I think this is the perfect mentality for Magic Johnson. He's lowering expectations, as we talked about last hour. LeBron went into Miami.
Lowering them?
Yeah, he's lowering expectations. He said we have a solid team, Chris. That was his exact quote.
He did bring up Golden State and competing with them in the Western Conference Finals.
Remember, we talked about this last hour. LeBron went to Miami at the introduction. Not one, not two. Magic is saying, hey, we got a solid team. We're not losing sleep over these guys. Obviously, we want to compete with them. And I'll counter that with, Chris, what's he supposed to say? When somebody asks you about what's the right answer? I'm obsessed, as Morey said, or whatever. They're the Warriors. They're a great team. We're trying to compete with them.
I got to be, and I'm not trying to be non-combative, as you know. I didn't have a problem with what Morey said either. Morey told the truth, and Magic just told the truth. If we can get to the Western Conference Finals, then we would love to have the chance to knock off Golden State. That's what he said, essentially, and I'm fine with that. Daryl Morey clearly had the second best team in the West, and he called out the Golden State Warriors, and I was fine with it, especially considering that they had the Warriors down 3-2 and lost their second best player. Heck, had Chris Paul been healthy,
wait, let's not go there.
If
Andre Iguodala is healthy
for 6 and 7.
If Andre Iguodala is playing that full series,
Andre Iguodala is not. Can we at least agree on that? That Andre Iguodala is not Chris Paul.
He is not. The NBA Finals MVP, Andre Iguodala, is not Chris Paul.
I don't care what award he won. Is Andre Iguodala the equivalent of Chris Paul?
NBA Finals MVP, Andre Iguodala is not Chris Paul.
Okay,
but I will agree with Steve Kerr. If Iguodala plays, that series is over in 5.
Oh, stop it. I didn't even hear Kerr say that.
He did say that. 100%.
He said that's over in 5. No way.
He said that.
No way.
The night
Give Houston their respect.
7. I put some respect on their name. But listen, Morey never played the game. Okay? And I can understand.
You didn't either. That doesn't stop you from making bold statements.
Can you let me finish my point? So I can understand why Morey's saying I'm obsessed. Okay? Magic Johnson has played. He's won 5 rings. He ain't losing sleep. He's not obsessed with the Warriors. I just feel like player versus front office, there's a huge divide there in how they look at things.
J-Mac, I love you. Okay.
You do.
You know that. But Magic Johnson's prime acquisition, the best player in the world, the best player to ever play for the Lakers. Yes, I said it. Not the best Laker ever, but the best player to ever play for the Lakers.
That, by the way.
The second best player of all time. He said a few years ago, remember Sports Illustrated article?
Yeah. Yep.
He said he was up at night watching the Warriors. Essentially was obsessed with them.
He's a player. He's on the court.
But you just said players don't think that way.
No, LeBron as a player should. Front office
Magic shouldn't? Magic, you said Magic was a player.
He was a player.
And he was obsessed with beating Larry Bird.
He can't have an impact the way LeBron can. Remember, LeBron has talked about chasing ghosts. Of course he's going to be obsessed with the Warriors. To get to the ghost, the GOAT, Michael Jordan, he's got to do it on the floor. I can understand his obsession. Does that jive at all?
A little convoluted, but that's okay. But so you thought Magic Johnson was calling out Daryl Morey?
Heck yeah.
Really?
Subtle.
Why not? Why wasn't he calling out LeBron?
Well,
LeBron said the same thing.
LeBron's his guy. He just lured LeBron here. He's going to call out his guy.
I'm going to be honest. I think Daryl Morey was the furthest thing from Magic Johnson's mind. I think he just used a figure of speech. I'm not losing sleep over Golden State. That's all I think it was. I don't think he was calling out there. I mean, heck, you Magic Johnson. What do you look like calling out Daryl Morey? You know,
you're right. That would be a little
What does Mike Tyson look like calling out some, mediocre amateur boxer?
I do think it goes back to lowering expectations. He called his team solid. Magic knows they're probably not winning the title this year. A lot of things would have to break their way. Okay?
I mean, you got them.
I got him
second
too,
best team in the league.
Well, I mean, I'm a believer in LeBron James.
I am too, but my goodness. This isn't the Eastern Conference, bruh.
I'm aware of that. I mean,
It's
he's also got a better
night.
supporting cast than he had in Cleveland last year.
Yeah, but it's not a tremendous supporting cast.
We
It's
don't
a
have
good
time
one.
to get into it, but I'm telling you, Chris, there is some truth to NBA players making a massive leap in their third year in the league. Brandon Ingram is the guy to watch this year. He played his rookie year with D'Angelo Russell, right?
Yeah.
Rookie. Played his second year with Lonzo Ball, rookie. He's now playing with LeBron James. I expect Brandon Ingram to make a quantum leap this year, become the clear number 2. And then, Kuzma, Lonzo, KCP. KCP and LeBron are very tight. They were up at UCLA this week working out. I'm telling you, man, the winning mentality that LeBron brings to that locker room, you can't quantify that.
I like the Lakers. I like what they're doing. Okay, they do have decent shooting. I just thought of this. You've been harping
I knew
so
that was
much.
coming. I knew it was coming.
You've been harping so much on the three-point shooting. OKC doesn't have it. This team doesn't have it. And now the Lakers are not. They were 29th in the league last year in three-point shooting. Didn't really add three-point shooting.
Rondo? No,
Rondo, JaVale McGee, Lance Stevenson didn't add any three-point shooting. Why aren't you so down on them
again
as a team that can't shoot threes?
This comes down to the LeBron factor.
So LeBron doesn't need threes.
I mean, LeBron, he's okay.
That's been what he's done the last 8 years. Get me some shooters around me and let me create and get them open looks.
Antonio Daniels last hour came on and made a good point that I fully agree with. LeBron ain't playing 82 games. He's not leading the league in minutes, okay? He's going to be taking nights off. He's going to dial it back to maybe 30, 31 minutes a game. Conserve your energy.
I wouldn't go that low.
Well,
I bet
he's going to have to conserve
he's
energy.
He's at least at 35, 34, 30. 34 at the very least,
I mean,
but
that
I
means
think he's around
playing
35.
in November games,
LeBron
like 40 minutes.
loves to play, man, and he's going, especially if they're going to live up to your prediction of the second seed.
Yeah.
LeBron's going to play 31 minutes a game, and they're going to be the second seed in the West.
I'm also much higher, as I said, Ingram. I like Kuzma a lot. I think KCP's game improves. Again, they hired winners. Rondo's a winner, man.
Yeah.
Hey, in the playoffs, don't get me started. Rondo outplayed Damian Lillard head-to-head in the first round.
I asked you about threes.
Yeah,
Tell me about that.
LeBron makes them better because he creates open looks for three-point shooters. Kuzma was a pretty good, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I think he was 34, 35. Brandon Ingram was a little higher. He didn't make many per game. And KCP might be their best three-point shooter. Lonzo, I can't work with that. Maybe
they got decent
maybe
three. Look, look, they got decent three-point shooting. Not great, but decent. Right. And we'll see how that works. But look, put one more destination on your list this summer. It's GNC. Be sure you're getting the highest quality supplements at the best prices with GNC's price match guarantee, or try something new. If it's not right for you, return it for a full refund. This summer, live well with GNC. Exclusions apply. See an associate or GNC.com for details. Back, there's one way to skin a cat. But in the NFL, at least, one way definitely seems to be more effective. That's next on The Herd.
That's an A+ tease, Chris Broussard.
Welcome back to The Herd. I'm Chris Broussard in with Jason McIntyre. We're filling in for Colin Cowherd today. And yesterday, our guest will be coming up in a few minutes. James Harrison, former Pittsburgh Steelers great, two-time Super Bowl winner with the Steelers. He asked him what the difference was, or if Mike Tomlin, the Steelers coach, was as detail-oriented as Bill Belichick. Here's what Harrison said.
It needs to be more disciplined. Some of the things that they do coaching-wise, I feel like some of the situations that we were in when we were there, as far as time management, calling of defenses. We had situations where we had double-called defenses because one thing was said, then someone said something else. So you got half the defense playing one defense, the other half playing something else. So you get situations out there where it looks bad, like, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. Well, he's just playing a different defense possibly on that play than what the other half of the defense was playing.
That's a no-no in today's NFL. And hold on, I'm a Mike Tomlin fan.
I like him too.
I think he's a very good coach. But I'm saying you can't have those types of miscommunications and expect to win many Super Bowls. That's what I mean.
Okay.
What you think I was talking about, Harrison?
Yeah.
No, I'm fine with.
I've seen Harrison walk in the halls here. He's a
no.
big
He can
dude.
say whatever he wants to anybody. All right, and I'm fine with him being honest. I want him to be honest. But my point is, you saw again. As much as I like Mike Tomlin, the lack of attention to detail, that's what James Harrison talked about. It's evident. Yeah. Whether it's the defenses playing two different schemes or, I mean, remember last year when they played the Patriots in the regular season, you're going for home field advantage in the AFC playoffs, and they just completely botched a situation at the end of the game.
Can you not remind me of that? I lost a lot of money on that game.
You're a Steelers fan.
No, I lost a lot of money on that game. No,
but that's what he's talking about, and I think that's legitimate.
Let me just say this, Chris, and we talk about this in the NBA. Players can't win when they say or do things. How's James Harrison going to win here? If he says,
he won. He won by being honest. He's done with the NFL. He retired.
Steelers fans are bashing him. Oh, how are you going to say that? Listen, the reality is, Bill Belichick's a better coach than Mike Tomlin. Like, nobody would disagree.
No slight on Tomlin, but yeah.
So Harrison's getting bashed for saying this, which I think is ridiculous. And if he said Tomlin's a better coach, he would get slammed for that. So he can't really win here. And I guess what I keep coming back to is, and we talked about this earlier, you got a 10-year relationship, as Harrison did with the Steelers. He was there for 10 years. You can nitpick that relationship forever. You got a huge body of work, 16 games times 10 years. You do the math. He spent 4 games, I believe, with the New England Patriots. 1 in the regular season, and I think the playoff games. And it's like, you can't really nitpick 4 games versus spending 10 years in Pittsburgh.
Sometimes there's nothing to nitpick.
Wow.
If you've been dating a girl who's, she's okay, right?
She's okay.
For 10 years.
Okay.
Then you date Halle Berry for 4 days. Do you have to date her for more than 4 days to sing her praises?
There you go.
Do you have to nitpick? Yeah. I mean, sometimes there's nothing to nitpick. Yeah. What's there to nitpick with New England?
Listen, a lot of people think Bill Belichick is too hard on players. He disposes them quickly. The only guy that matters there is really Tom Brady. That's been the one fixture. Wide receivers, interchangeable. Running backs, interchangeable. No, I agree.
Do they win?
Chris,
they are the preeminent.
But if you're a player, look, Rob Gronkowski. He's like threatened retirement. I know he's coming back. He's keep coming back. I want a new
Brady's
contract.
41 and he's still playing.
Yes, Chris.
Come on,
Chris, there's 2 sides to this. Come on. There isn't?
There are.
Like, I agree with
but
what
the
Belichick's
one side
doing.
Is winning. You're winning.
It has won.
So you have a problem with Bill Belichick's coaching style. Is that what you're saying?
No, I think it's been successful, no doubt. I do think as we, ease into 2018, 2019, with the social media, you got these millennial athletes. They're kind of built a little differently and wired differently. We saw it with Kawhi Leonard and Popovich. We've seen it now with Rob Gronkowski and Bill Belichick. And listen, Odell Beckham had his issues. Young, bit of a hothead. The young millennials are wired differently. They don't want to take marching orders the way these guys have in the past. Tom Brady was cool going into that film room and getting beat up by Bill Belichick every week.
It has helped him get
there.
Super Bowl
but
championships.
At some point, you kind of run into, all right, I've had enough of that, Bill. Thanks.
So you saying you guys like Greg Popovich and Bill Belichick are fading out and you can't coach that way anymore?
I certainly believe that, yeah.
Really?
They are by far the longest tenured head coaches in their respective sports.
Don't you think there's a reason for that?
Yes.
That's a part of their greatness.
It is, no doubt.
Players need discipline and direction from a head coach. When players get bothered by a head coach who gives them discipline and direction, it's because he doesn't know what he's talking about, or they think he doesn't know what he's talking about. But when you have a proven track record, when you can show them, Now, if you're going to be a disciplinarian, if you're going to be hard on your players, you got to win, but you also have to show them how detail-oriented you are, and that you know every answer to every question they could possibly have. You know every coverage they could throw at you. You've studied the film, and you can improve them as a player and a team. That's how a lot of the really good coaches in the NBA who didn't play NBA-level basketball, The way they earn the respect of players is by showing them that they work their tails off, that I'm working 18 hours a day so I can show you every single way this dude's going to cover you or every single option this guy's going to go to out of his triple threat stance. And that's what gets players respect if you never played the game. And that's what's worked for Belichick and Popovich.
I would also say both of those guys come from kind of a military background. Belichick's father was at the Naval Academy forever. We know Popovich, I believe, with the Air Force.
Yeah.
So they have that, hey, the mentality, it's my way or the highway. And if you don't want to listen, there's the door. I don't know that that's going to work universally now in 2018. I mean, it can work some places, but as you said, you better win.
It won't work. Unfortunately, it won't work universally. I think that's good coaching.
I would agree.
And I was from a very authoritarian household, where my father was the boss. He was the king. Okay, king. He wasn't the king of L.A., but he was the king of the house.
All dads are.
All right, and it was well, not really, but he was the king of the house, and so I like authority. I like when somebody's
structure.
Structure, and I think that's best. And like I said, the proof is in the pudding. These two guys are tremendous coaches, and they've been very successful at it. So I don't think you can argue it. I like Mike Tomlin. I think he does some great things. And I think if he takes a little bit of advice from Harrison and does tighten it up a little bit, then he could take it to the next level. And that's a great team, could win a Super Bowl. So let's go to the Herd Line News with our veteran newsman, John Goulet.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
So it wasn't that long ago that when the Rams were actually able to beat the Seahawks, it was kind of a big deal. It was like a huge upset. Well, in an interview with USA Today, Rams running back Todd Gurley said that that's not really the case anymore, and that the Rams are happy about all of the changes in Seattle, and they have to take advantage of the situation the Seahawks are in. Guys, is Gurley right? With all the changes, are the Seahawks just done? Is this the Rams division now?
Well, the Seahawks certainly aren't what they used to be. And I'm fine with Gurley saying this because I agree. Look, anytime that one of your rivals falls off a bit, it's good for you. And that's what's happened with Seattle. And but he gave them enough respect. We got to take advantage of it. So he said we can't take them lightly. We just have to capitalize.
That was one of my most fun games of the regular season. I mean, they dismembered Seattle. I love that. My buddy's got season tickets to the Rams, and I've already circled the Seahawks game. I think they're here. I want to be there. I want to watch that beatdown because I'm also sick of the Seattle Seahawks. I said on Speak for Yourself earlier this year to Tony Gonzalez, that run is over. It's done.
Yeah.
And now we've seen Cam Chancellor, I believe, is retired. Earl Thomas wants to get the heck out of there. Richard Sherman was traded. Hey, man, they had a good run. 4 or 5 years? The dynasty was short-lived.
It's unfortunate because they left one on the table.
They did.
They're never going to forget.
Richard Sherman ain't forgetting that.
No, and to be honest, that's when the demise began, to be honest. That's when they fell off.
I'll buy that.
Obviously, the biggest story of the NBA offseason has been the Lakers' acquisition of LeBron James. According to Eric Pincus of Bleacher Report, who quotes an anonymous Lakers exec, the coaching staff is, quote, eager to see LeBron playing center in a small ball lineup similar to the one the Warriors use to finish games. So the Warriors' death lineup, or Hamptons 5, whatever, everyone hates the names for it, is Steph, Clay, Andre Iguodala, Durant, and Draymond. The Lakers' supposed death lineup would be, I guess, Lonzo, Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram, Kuzma, and LeBron playing at center. Do you guys like that move? LeBron kind of becoming a small ball 5 for the Lakers?
Broussard, let me start with it. First of all, get Lonzo out of there. KCP is the better shooter and defender. He would play over Lonzo at the end of the game. Overall, I don't mind that at all. I think it's a good strategy. LeBron doesn't have to go out and guard Draymond, really, because Draymond struggled from deep. LeBron can more roam, kind of play around the way he did 2 years ago, pre-Durant, or I guess 3 years ago, and was a superstar defensively in the finals. Last 2 years, he's had to guard Durant, and he's got annihilated. I mean, Durant just murders him one-on-one. Yep. So I actually like this. I think it would be great for the Lakers.
But, Jason, look at them side by side. That's a blowout.
Look, if you try
compared to the Warriors,
if you try to compare the Lakers,
no.
And this isn't a rule where they're going to end every game with that lineup. No. And I agree with you, KCP. You won in there. Now I'm not saying you're not ending any games with Lonzo.
Playoff Rondo. Let's not forget playoff
Rondo. It'll all play out. Obviously, John, you're right that death lineup for Golden State is much better. The only advantage that the Lakers would have is LeBron over Draymond. But outside of that, but I don't mind the Lakers tinkering, of
course,
and
not.
talking about we're gonna do some things differently. I do like LeBron at center, not permanently, not most of the time, but in certain lineups, I think it gives you great versatility.
Quick reminder, Goulet, Game 1, NBA Finals. LeBron with an inferior cast to that one you just mentioned. He nearly led them to victory, if not
game
for
1 and 3.
If not for you know who.
Defensively, that's great for LeBron. For him to be able to guard Draymond and not Kevin Durant, that would be a huge boost for him.
Yep.
And finally, some more good news for the Lakers. In the Junior Basketball Association, or the JBA, LA beat Atlanta 170-123. Led by the Ball brothers, LiAngelo and LaMelo, who scored 48 points each. Check this out. LiAngelo, who worked out for a few weeks ago, was a extremely efficient 19 of 54 from the field, including 5 of 24 from 3. So maybe the Lakers could do a death lineup with like LiAngelo, Lonzo, LaMelo, LeBrono. I guess Rondo could fit in there as well. I read that stat right. 5 of 24 from 3. Just keep chucking
that's
them.
both of these guys combined, right?
This is your guy, LeVar. Be careful.
Here's the sad thing. The worst thing about this clip, and I know our listeners can't see it, but it's LaMelo's hair. I mean, the shooting was horrible, but what in the world is he doing with his hair? But I digress. Did you say they were combined 19 for 54?
I didn't say anything because
Yes.
I'm out on the balls. I'm done with them.
Look, I pull for LeVar and Lonzo and all of his sons.
Sorry, Chris, I'm actually wrong. That was just LiAngelo was 19 of 54.
In one game?
In one game.
Oh, come on.
They scored 170 as a team.
But 19 for 54? How many points did
That's
LiAngelo
kind of
end
eerily
up with?
reminiscent of Kobe's last game, isn't it?
Jeez,
How
wow.
many did LiAngelo have? How many points?
Nobody cares.
He had 48.
48 on 54 shots. Look, you're not getting to the NBA that way.
He
That's
should be
how
at
they played in
UCLA,
high
Chris.
school.
He should be at UCLA trying to crack the rotation. Okay, that's where he should be. Not in this joke of a league that where you and I could team up and probably win a title. Okay,
just slow down.
Stop with the LeVar Ball nonsense. I'm done with him.
I'll go
done.
I'll go one better. He should be at UCLA. Yes, playing on the basketball team, but in class hitting the books.
There you go.
That's what because
There
he
you
don't
go.
have a career in the NBA. He's a nice kid. Thankfully, it looks like his family has, this business going well, so he can work for the family. He'll be all right, but he's not playing in the NBA.
Not happening.
19 for 54.
And I'm not rooting against the kids.
I hope LaMelo was one that was on track.
Right.
So I hope this doesn't derail him.
You talk about him getting a college education. He pulled him out of high school. Yeah. I mean, Chris, come on. We both have kids. That is lunacy. He's hurting his kids. This is.
I hope LaMelo
I don't want to go off on a
to
tangent.
the NBA. But you ain't going to do it going 19 for 54. That's Goulet with the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Line News.
Look, let's hear from Carmelo Anthony. We've been talking a lot about him. And then I have a message to Melo. I'm a big fan of Melo.
Is this a love letter?
I have a message for my man
You're a
Melo.
big fan of present Melo or his
Both.
career?
I like him as a person. I think he's had a tremendous career.
So you're
I'm
the one.
pulling for him.
So you're the
I'm
one.
the one. I'm pulling for Melo. Your favorite, LeBron, is buddies with him. Let's hear from Melo, and then I got a letter to him.
How do you feel about starting at the 4, or the concept of starting at the 4, or even coming off the bench? And the second question is,
Who, me?
Oh. I guess that answers that part.
I mean, I don't know where that started, where that came from. Hey, P, they said I got to come off the bench.
Yo, but hold on. I get it in September of 2017. If he's saying that in September of 2018, I don't want to hear it. Okay, but at that point, he had just come from averaging 20 points for I don't know what the 14th straight year, probably.
Ooh!
I mean, he averaged 20 his whole entire career.
Broussard.
Oh, stop it! You put some respect on his name.
Why?
Because he's the first ballot Hall of Famer. That's not earning it.
NBA, everybody gets in the Hall of Fame.
Now
Everybody
stop
except
it.
Chris Webber, which is a travesty.
My man, Carmelo, he won a title at Syracuse.
I was a huge fan of Carmelo early. And
Guess
with the
what
Knicks.
happened his rookie year? He
In
led
Denver?
the 17-win Denver Nuggets to the playoffs in the West.
41 or 42.
43 wins in the playoffs in the West. LeBron didn't do that in the East.
LeBron missed the playoffs his first couple years.
Yeah, and they were both had won 17 games. So and Carmelo Anthony. I know he never got deep in the West except the one time in the conference final.
When he was led
but
by
he,
Chauncey
hold on,
Billups.
he didn't have Shaquille O'Neal ever. He didn't have a Kevin Durant ever. He didn't have a Tim Duncan ever.
Oh,
they
no.
finally gave him,
You
hold
are
on,
not
stop
going
it.
there, Chris.
They finally gave him a Chauncey Billups type point guard, and don't say Chauncey led him. Melo led him. Chauncey directed the offense. But they gave him a solid, great teammate and leader and champion in Chauncey Billups, and they got to the Western Conference Finals and pushed the Lakers to 6. Lakers went on to win that title. So I think the narrative that Melo can't win is just overblown. I'm not saying he's LeBron. He's not Durant. He's not in that class. But he is the class below, so put some respect on his
Chris,
name.
this is why I love you. You know, because you're being very optimistic on Melo. Listen, hey, if
You
we
act
want to
like
sing
dude's
the
a scrub.
praises of 2006 Carmelo Anthony, go right ahead, okay? Carmelo Anthony essentially has become Des Bryant, okay? He's a problem in the locker room. He's whiny. Nobody wants him. You know, Des Bryant's not signed by anybody right now.
Wait. What'd you say?
LeBron is best friends with Carmelo Anthony, right?
Okay.
He didn't want him in Cleveland. He ain't want him in L.A.
But you know who does want him?
Who?
Chris Paul and the Houston
Chris Paul,
Rockets.
what's he done?
So
What?
he's a Hall of
I
Famer
can't
too.
hear you. What has Chris Paul done?
He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's one of the best point guards to ever play the game.
Do you remember?
So if a guy hasn't won a ring, they're garbage in your estimation. Is that what
Carmelo
you're saying?
Anthony is in the Hall of Fame, no doubt. But this idea that he's going to like go to Houston and help them, this is a guy who's never played a lick of defense. Never in his career. He's
Has
a
James
ball
Harden.
stopper.
Has James
We're
Harden.
talking about Carmelo.
What?
James Harden won an MVP. Stop.
Has he
Stop
played
it.
a lick of
Chris,
defense?
You're
a lick.
saying nonsense.
Has he played any defense? Has he? Just answer me that.
Carmelo Anthony has never made not one player in his NBA career better. James Harden has done that in spades in Houston. It's incredible. Stop. Chris,
Chauncey
don't get me
Billups,
started, all right? I like
Kenyon
Carmelo.
Martin.
My family is watching, and I will not go after Carmelo Anthony and Kobe Bryant in the same 3-hour window. I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it.
Look, Carmelo Anthony deserves some respect. That's all I'm saying.
What level of respect?
I get that beginning of last season, he didn't want to come off the bench. He should have felt that way. But now he needs to accept where he's at in his career. And I think he's smart enough to do that. And that's, like I said, I'm going to give him some advice in my letter.
All right, let me make
coming
sure.
up.
Okay, letter's coming up. Can I make sure you're seated and locked in for what I'm about to say?
I'm listening.
Since Patrick Ewing retired, beloved New York Knicks player, the most beloved Knicks player has been Jeremy Lin. More beloved than Carmelo Anthony. And I'm telling you, talk to any real Knicks fan. Nobody likes how the Melo career started in New York, where he made all these demands and the Knicks had to unload their roster and they never did jack squat with him until they get Jason Kidd and J.R. Smith, blah, blah, blah. And then on his way out the door, all these demands, he got rid of Mike D'Antoni. Jeremy Lin was more
Nobody
beloved.
was upset about that.
Oh, and guess what? Carmelo Anthony hated Jeremy Lin with a passion. Go talk to any player from that Knicks era. Carmelo detested the love that Knicks fans heaped on Jeremy Lin.
First
and
of
I'm
all, remember,
I'm out on Melo.
I
sorry.
covered the Knicks. All
Yes,
right?
you did. We're the New York Times.
First
That's where
of
we
all,
first met.
the most beloved Knicks since Patrick Ewing was Latrell Sprewell. Latrell Sprewell was beloved. Jeremy Lin had a freaking 2-month run.
And it was
he was not bigger than Latrell Sprewell.
You know I own a Jeremy Lin t-shirt?
Yeah, that's you. All right? That's you. All right? I don't think there's many others out there.
I'm basically Knicks fan number 1 over the last 20 years. First game I ever attended.
So you
gonna
tell me? I know you might not have been following basketball back in the early 2000s when Latrell Sprewell was the chief Knick, but he was beloved. So that I couldn't even hear you after you
I
said
thought you were
Jeremy
say
Lin.
Stephon Marbury, but
No.
listen, this Sprewell stuff. Stop. I mean, just
They loved Sprewell. My goodness. All right.
You set me off here.
We'll get
We're
to
having
that.
a pleasant discussion, and you got to start with this mellow
You went
garbage.
off with Jerry. I don't know how you got to Jeremy Lin, but look, we're going to go to James Harrison. He said yesterday on The Herd that the coaching in New England is far superior to what they have in Pittsburgh. He'll join us in 5 minutes, but right now, we're taking a break.
About time.
Tomorrow, baseball's biggest superstars are on Fox. For most of the country, it's the Chicago Cubs taking on the Cardinals, or catch Mike Trout and the Angels as they battle Jose Altuve and the Astros. Major League Baseball tomorrow at 7 Eastern on Fox. Check local listings for the game in your area.
Mike Trout, fresh off that homer in the All-Star game. Did you watch all? I enjoyed it this year.
Home runs. Love them, baby.
I hate the all home run or all strikeout thing, but I got to admit, if you're going to hit that many home runs, it makes it exciting.
We're going to talk about baseball next hour.
Yeah.
It's a good topic, too.
Look, I love the home run derby. I'm glad Bryce Harper delivered in his home park.
Yes.
And I thought the All-Star game was great. So
can't wait till
and
Bryce
they
Harper.
mic'd these guys in the outfield.
Bryce
I thought that
Harper
was
in a
good
Yankees
too.
jersey in a couple years.
Nah,
I can't wait.
I don't see
can't
that.
wait.
I watch. We'll put some chicken wings or something on that. All right.
Chicken wings.
Now we got in next James Harrison from the Pittsburgh Steelers, brother. Come on up. And it's great to have you. Look, I'm a Steelers fan, so I loved him for that, but he's also Ohio native. Akron be producing. That's obviously LeBron James.
LeBron James.
Now, you didn't know LeBron personally.
No.
In Akron, but you're a little older. Did you have any?
Yeah, you heard about him
Really?
in high school all the way, like starting like at his sophomore year. You know,
Yep.
Everyone knew that he was going to be a great player.
I have a story. I remember I was writing for the New York Times. This is like LeBron's like in 7th grade. And I knew somebody in his inner circle because I had covered the Cavaliers in Ohio. And this guy calls me and he says, yo, we got the next guy, the next Jordan. Like, and I'm thinking,
grade.
yeah, and I'm like, come on, man, like from Akron, really? You know, and he said it's LeBron James, and obviously it turned out to be the case. But look, it's great to have you here. You were here yesterday. Look, the world of TV, it's crazy. And you made some news with talking about, Bill Belichick was a better coach than Mike Tomlin. What do you have to say about that?
I was asked a question on my honest opinion, and that's my honest opinion. I gave my reasoning for that, and I still feel the same way.
Hey, don't you feel like athletes can't win, James? I mean, if you say your honest opinion, they're going to rip you for it.
Well, you gotta realize something. Like it's especially the fans, they can't see past that because you're supposed to be loyal to me, like loyal to that organization. And it comes to a point in time where you just got to be honest. And I'm at that point in time where I'm not stuck to a loyalty to anything. I'm a Steeler for life. That's no question about it. But that's an honest answer to a question.
You mentioned the word loyalty. We just saw in the NBA the DeMar DeRozan situation. We saw Kevin Durant a couple years ago leaving. I mean, does loyalty exist anymore in sports?
Loyalty doesn't exist in sports to me. This is my personal opinion because it's a business.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're trying to do what's best for your business, and it's an athlete that is the person that you're dealing with. So at whatever point in time it comes that you're no longer doing exactly what it is that they want to do, now you're expendable. So when you say family to me, yeah, it can be like family, but the true family is the guys that you played that game with, that you built a bond with, guys that, I still communicate with, Ike, Troy, Kiesel, that's my brothers. That's my family. I have a, connection to the Steelers because they did a lot for me. I'm very thankful for the Rooneys and the Steelers for giving me the opportunity that I had and making me able to take care of my family the way that I do. But when it comes down to it, guys need to realize, like, it's a business. They're going to make a business decision. Like, they're not going to be so loyal to you that they take a loss.
Well, I don't think loyalty ever existed in sports. And it was just a lopsided relationship where the owners, the teams didn't have to be loyal to the players. Or in NFL, the players couldn't move and things like that. Mm-hmm. Now, especially in the NBA, you've seen players take their destiny into their own hands. LeBron James kind of started it. Now a lot of guys are doing it. So now you're seeing on both sides there's no loyalty. It used to just be on the owner's side there's no loyalty. So now you had talked about ways the Steelers could improve, be more disciplined. And I thought Like last year against the Patriots. Remember at the end of the game with the not spiking the ball? I thought that we all saw evidence of them getting needing to be more disciplined. Do you think those are things they can implement? That they, realistically,
discipline is something that starts, from the top, and it starts from the top down, and you make a set of rules, you stick to those rules, and you go with it.
Now let me ask you this, because I never played at a professional level, but even in college, once a coach is a certain way, he kind of is who he is.
True.
Can a coach, though, who hasn't been a disciplinarian, whoever it is, decide to all of a sudden change things? Will that work, or a guy's going to look funny at that?
I think if you're a player for that coach, you're going to look funny at that because you've been doing things a certain way. But if that way isn't getting you the ultimate results that you want, then maybe something needs to change. That's like everyone's saying, "Oh, Belichick's too hard on guys. He's this, he's that." Well, what he's doing is working. It's not the Patriot way unless they're winning. If they weren't winning, he wouldn't be there. It would no longer be the Patriot way. It's winning. That's it.
What you see in your short time? I know it was a brief time in New England. Did you see anything that just stunned you, that shocked you? Like, man, I didn't know it was like this.
No, nothing stunned me. What really shocked me is like all the stories of all the friction between the coach and this player, or the coach, and I didn't see it
at all.
It was like made up stories to bring them guys closer together.
So you think that
I came in looking like, oh yeah, I'm about to see. Yeah, they got some ish
this
going
TB12
on here too.
Trainer, all that stuff. Yeah.
So yeah, in and out. I see him in and out. It's like,
oh, he was still up in there.
I seen it. It was nothing. Like he walked in and out.
So when you say made up stories, do you actually think maybe somebody within the organization, they leaked this stuff?
Oh, I don't know about that, but okay. I'm doing conspiracy theories right there. But all it does is bring those guys closer together.
Yeah, I don't think everybody's still talking about that. Yeah. Like Belichick and Brady, whether there's tension there or not, I don't think it's going to hurt them on the football field.
Yeah, I can't say that I saw it, to be honest with you.
Hey, James, you had a career that kind of spanned pre-social media and also in social media at the end. You're obviously an Instagram star. You got a great page there. I got to ask, how have you seen social media impact players? We've seen it, whether it's a Steelers locker room, Patriots locker room, all around the league. It feels like there's a bit of a shift toward players are becoming more, maybe a little more selfish and brand promotional as opposed to what they were, pre-social media.
Like you said, right now you got a lot of social media, and guys are trying to, use football as a platform to get things ready for when they're done, and get their own media outlet, so to speak, and get their own things going before it's done.
What can that do to a locker room, though, when you see certain guys pushing it, other guys not doing it, the coaches maybe not loving it?
It doesn't matter if you allow it. If the coaches allow it, then they allow it. If it's something that's out of bounds and the coach corrects it, he corrects it. Like in New England, it was like no social media in the locker room, in the facility, so on and so forth. So that's the way they did things. In other places it's different. You can do your videos in your locker room. We did videos in the Steelers locker room. I don't find an issue with it. It's only when it becomes like you're getting into an area that maybe you shouldn't have put that out there.
Yeah. Well, when you open the door and you let people get on the social media and they're like. That can
well, it's the same thing. You open the doors for reporters. You open the doors for, Hard Knocks, things like that.
Yeah.
How'd you like Hard Knocks? Quickly, we only got a few seconds left.
I did not like Hard Knocks because I felt like it was an invasion into a brotherhood, into a locker room that they did not earn a right into. And now you're showing this to the world. You got a guy that is a rookie and he's getting cut he's told for the first time the game he's played all his life, now that he is no longer good enough. And now he's on live TV getting
I've
released.
wondered about
That's
that.
hard.
Carmelo Anthony next. Yes, it's The Herd with Chris Broussard and Jason McIntyre in for Colin Cowherd. We're glad you're joining us today. And we've been talking loyalty in sports. And you say there is none.
Oh, come on.
And you're not alone. All right, a lot
you're
of
on
the
my
people
side,
in
Chris.
sports.
It took 2 hours for us to find a topic that we agree on. Isn't that
it's
lovely?
probably taken 2 years, right? But you're not the only one that thinks there's no loyalty in sports. And DeMar DeRozan is quite upset about the lack of loyalty. Here's what he had to say when he was shipped off to the San Antonio Spurs for Kawhi Leonard. All right, so on Instagram, he was upset. Highly upset. He said, here it is. Be told one thing and the outcome another. Can't trust them. Ain't no loyalty in sports. Soon you'll understand. Don't disturb. All right. He was upset because not only had the Raptors been telling him all along he wasn't going to be traded, but about a week ago it was reported that they told him, met with him when these rumors began and said, you will not be traded. And then a couple days later, he shipped out. You feel like this was not only a problem in Toronto, but just throughout sports.
I definitely think that this is a major problem, Chris. Let me back up a little bit here. When Kevin Durant left OKC for Golden State, okay? He left after spending 8 years in OKC and all these guys on social media calling him a snake, and he left this team, and that's so messed up. So here we are 2 years later. And as you just said, the Raptors have been gassing up DeRozan. I read a piece by Zach Lowe that said in December, the Raptors front office said, hey, we can build around you the way the Lakers built around Kobe. And we can do this, that, and the other. They tell him last week we're keeping him. And then they trade him. And this is the one guy who's wanted to be in Toronto, Chris.
Yeah.
We saw Chris Bosh. Peace, I'm out. T-Mac, see you later. I mean, you go
Vince
on down
Carter.
the list. Antonio Daniels. So many guys didn't want to be there. DeMar DeRozan wanted to be there. He embraced it. He's the face of the franchise in Toronto. And now you're just going to do him dirty like that? I just think, Chris, we've got to stop hammering the athletes when they leave the way people went after Kevin Durant. And we got to stop, defending these teams when they do something like this.
Well, look,
I think it's gutless to tell DeMar DeRozan, we're not trading you, and then a week later you're gone.
So your problem is that they told him he's not being traded. It's not that they traded him.
No. And then let's go back. 2016, DeMar DeRozan hits the free agent market.
Yep.
Okay? He didn't even take a meeting with another team. He said, I love Toronto. I want to be here. I've read reports he took a minor discount to help them fortify that bench. I mean, listen. You got to remember, athletes, we had James Harrison on here a minute ago. You got to do what's better for yourself.
Look, that's why I totally agree in terms of players taking their destiny in their own hands and understanding this is not a business. And when a player leaves a franchise, when LeBron James leaves Cleveland, when Kevin Durant leaves OKC or whatever, you can criticize them because you thought they went and joined a stacked team or they took the easy way out. That's fair game. But don't criticize them for having a so-called lack of loyalty. Because as you said, there is no loyalty. There never was loyalty on the part of the teams. The teams are looking at this as a business. I have had NBA players tell me in the past where their names were in trade rumors. They went to the general manager and the coach and said, hey, what is going on? Am I going to be traded? And they were promised, no, you're not being traded. I had a player tell me that he asked them because of his house. He was like, do I need to put my house on the market? I've got a wife and kids. I need to start looking at schools in another city if I'm going to be traded. They assured him, don't worry. Don't put your house on the market. You're fine. And then within a few days, dude was gone.
Can you give me the conference this player played in? Come on, let's
the
narrow
West.
it down.
All right. Dude was gone. And so there never has been loyalty. The owners have always viewed it as a business and the front office people. Now the players are viewing it as a business. Now, LeBron James, what he did, one of his legacies beyond all the great things he's done on the court, one of his legacies will be that he really showed players how to take power into your own hands. Now, every player is not going to have the leverage that a LeBron James has, but he still showed them in free agency that you do have power. And even if you're willing to take a one-year deal, to take shorter deals, which gives you more leverage, that empowers the player. And that's what LeBron James did. So I am totally with you on let's no longer kill these players when they leave a franchise. Chris Paul leaving the Clippers. Don't give me nothing about loyalty. All right, if you want to kill him because he left Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan and they couldn't get it done with the Clippers, so he's going to join James Harden, that's fine. But do not kill him based on a so-called lack of loyalty.
What Blake Griffin? You just mentioned him. Remember they raised his jersey to the rafters
you're right.
in the pitch to keep him. Hey, we got to keep Blake Griffin here.
Well,
3 months later, bye, see ya.
Now let me say
Enjoy
this:
Detroit.
I'm not mad at the Clippers for doing that, or at the Raptors for trading DeRozan. Like you said, the problem is when you tell a player you're not getting traded and then you do it. You do it, but it's a business. And maybe in December, they thought differently of DeMar DeRozan than they did in June or July. They saw him in the playoffs. As you said, 0 for 9 from 3. They saw him get benched in the fourth quarter, and the team actually played better. So I get it if things change. Just don't tell the dude, you're fine, we love you, we're not trading.
Let me mention something about LeBron. This gets glossed over a lot. And here's how you need to look at LeBron leaving Cleveland the first time. Okay, so he takes them to the finals against the Spurs, way back, with like no supporting cast. So then the next year they don't make the finals. And he's like, I need help, guys.
3 years.
Right. So he starts asking for help. The Cavs gave him like Mo Williams, Antoine Jameson, 30-something-year-old Shaq. And LeBron's looking around like, geez, the Celtics they're adding Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen, and I'm getting these guys? LeBron had every right to leave Cleveland for Miami. Now, it may not have looked good with the decision, spectacle on TV, but hindsight tells me I'm fine with LeBron leaving, just as I'm fine with Kevin Durant leaving OKC for Golden State. And I know the pushback is, Jason, come on, he went to a stacked team. I don't care. He was sick of playing in OKC with Russell Westbrook. He wanted to play in a system where his entire abilities, his entire skill set would be unlocked, and we've seen that.
Yeah.
Best player in the finals, MVP in the finals 2 years in a row. Okay, defensively, he's gotten better. He's a better passer than he was in OKC. I'm not going to hate on any more athletes who leave, unless, of course, Sam Darnold leaves the Jets in 5 years. Then I will be crying and tearing him to shreds. Just kidding, Sam.
Well, it's interesting. You brought up LeBron in Miami in 2010. I remember writing in November of 2009. So that was the beginning of his last season in Cleveland. And I wrote that I never thought it would happen. But I remember writing, and I talked to LeBron about it. I wrote, that he may have to go to Miami and play with Dwayne Wade to win because super teams were coming into play, and he couldn't get one in Cleveland. Like Boston, they had 3 Hall of Fame players still at the end of their primes who they could not beat in Cleveland. The Lakers, you had Kobe and Pau Gasol. So everybody had 2 stars, or at least the contenders. And I said he might have to go to Miami to play with Dwayne Wade. I never thought it would happen, but that's what he did. And what people miss out on when they say, oh, Magic wouldn't do that, Jordan wouldn't do that, dumb. Bird wouldn't do that. Magic went to the team with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who was the MVP Magic's rookie year.
They added James Worthy
in 1982, I believe, with the #1 pick. Not to mention Jamal Wilkes, Hall of Famer, Norm Nix. I mean, great players. Larry Bird went to a team that had Tiny Archibald, Dave Cowens. Now, they were older, but still great players.
Certifiable stars.
Yeah, and toward the end, but still. And then he got Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish and Dennis Johnson, and the rest goes on. So LeBron gave him 7 years. They couldn't put that type of team around him. So he had to go elsewhere to get it. Okay. And that's the difference.
All right. Well, I just thought of this question. We haven't prepped it. Who do you think is going to be the next star who's unhappy with where he is, and he doesn't see the supporting pieces around him, and he is unhappy seeing other stars teaming up other places? Who you got? Who's the next star to hold his franchise hostage? We've seen it with Kyrie Irving. We saw it with Paul George. To an extent, we saw it with Melo in New York. We saw it with Kawhi Leonard. Listen, man, this is all in the last 2 years. This stuff's going to be happening more and more in the NBA,
The guy that most people, not only in the league, but around the league think, and I don't know if this is on the top of your head, but I know you'll agree with this, is Anthony Davis.
Yes.
Now, I don't know whether he'll do it or not. No. I chuckle when I hear all these trade packages for him now because he's locked up for the next 2 years.
Don't matter.
And if you're New Orleans, I'm not even listening. As soon as you mention Anthony Davis, I'm hanging up. Now, that's not the case in a year or two, But right now, when I've still got him locked under contract, why would I trade him?
They're in salary cap hell. They cannot really improve their team.
Why would I trade
because
him?
he doesn't want to be there. And
First of all, you don't know that. First of all,
I'm saying if this happens, we're not there yet.
But if he has not gone to them and said, "I want out."
No, that has not happened, and they just won a round in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But when you look at what happened in the offseason, whether or not they wanted to keep DeMarcus Cousins, I don't know. They added Randall, they lost Rondo. I have them out of the top 8. We talked about that first hour.
Which is lunacy.
Oh, really?
Yes, they are making the playoffs.
So Anthony Davis is one. I'm going to give you another. Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, wait, timeout. They just fired their coach, okay? Jason Kidd, he's out. They got a new coach. Jabari Parker, number 2 overall pick. Bye. See ya.
They've been without Jabari the last few years.
Right? They do not have a great salary cap situation. They don't have a second certifiable star. Chris Middleton's going to hit the market. He's going to want a ton. I'm just saying, there is going to be some pressure in Milwaukee in the next year for them to start to look like something before Giannis. Listen, man, I know Giannis has said he wants to stay. We've heard that from a lot of guys. LeBron started something that I don't think you can put the cork back in that bottle, or the genie. Yes.
Well, look,
I don't think it's that easy. Stars know they have the power, and if they demand to be traded, you just got to move on.
Well, speaking of free agency, we'll look at another sport. Bryce Harper and Major League Baseball. Harper, of course, free agent.
I love this next topic.
Had a night, but let's be clear: the NBA has stolen the month of July. That's next on The Herd. It's The Herd. Chris Broussard and Jason McIntyre in for Colin Cowherd. And look, the NBA has owned July. This used to be the period, or I should say the offseason used to belong to baseball. Remember Hot Stove when it was all about the trades and the free agency and all that? Now it's the NBA, whether it's LeBron going to the Lakers, DeMarcus Cousins going to Golden State, Paul George staying in Oklahoma City. It has owned the month. And here's the thing, because I grew up a baseball fan. I mean, obviously I grew up fans of football and basketball too, but I played baseball. I used to love watching the games on Saturday afternoon, and baseball had a great week. You had a wonderful home run derby. I know a lot of the big name stars weren't in it, but it still proved to be very exciting. The hometown hero, Bryce Harper, wins the home run derby at the end by hitting 9 homers in 47 seconds. All right, you can't get better than that. You had a great all-star 10 home runs, 25 strikeouts, 2 of the most exciting parts of the game, all right, in maximum form. All right, you had one of the greatest players in the league, Manny Machado, get traded to a huge market, Los Angeles, on a team that could win it all this year and that hadn't won it all since 1988. I mean, storyline upon storyline upon storyline, and yet, we were talking. People were hyped around the country. There was more interest in LeBron James sitting at a summer league game, not playing, all right, watching.
Okay, time out. I got to stop you.
Summer league game.
Where is this hype happening? Are you talking social media or debate shows? Or
I'm talking all of it.
Oh, boy.
I'm talking all of it. The NBA has taken over. And I think there's some things that, Major League Baseball can look at that and say, let's take a few things from the NBA. And I think get their game, get more people looking at it and kind of steal take July back. That's how I put it. Take July back.
The middle of the season, yeah. All right, a lot to chew on here. I do love this topic. I, too, was a baseball fan growing up. My brother and I have an amazing baseball card collection. I'll put it up against anybody's. We were such
sell
nerds.
It one day?
No.
Really? That's why
my
you
grandkids
right?
are getting it. No way.
Okay. They'll sell
we
it
would set up a baseball card shop in my basement and have our friends come over and buy stuff. Like, that's how geeked we were about it. It was awesome.
I wasn't far. I was short-sighted. I used to buy the baseball cards, and we would play games with them, like, baseball games, but put your cards down. So I had Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, all these cards, and they're just in horrible shape.
Condition. You need the mint condition, man.
Yeah,
so, I started this website about 10 years ago, and one of the big things that we ran into with baseball was you can't just put the videos online. You're not allowed to just put them on your website because MLB is very restrictive of that stuff. And, as social media grows, social media is more impactful, whether you like it or not. We're in a more fast-paced society, Okay? There's a sense of urgency. Oh, what's on my social media? Okay, I'm going to social media, you know. Baseball doesn't really fit into that. It's 162 games. Do you have 3.5 hours for 5 months, 28 days out of the month? It's very tough, and there's not a lot of urgency. I think financially, we know baseball's in great shape. You know, the owners are ridiculously wealthy. The players are doing well. Everything's fine. I'm with you, though. I think they could do some tinkering to take July back. But, Chris, I will say, postseason baseball is on fire. Last year it was amazing. The ratings on Fox were tremendous.
Yes.
You know, the World Series was excellent. I mean, Yankees-Astros was excellent. Like, we had a very, very good postseason. But, you know, baseball, it's a bit tougher. And with NBA, the player mobility, I don't know, can we blame LeBron? Did LeBron hurt baseball? Because LeBron's off seasons. Since he started signing these 1- and 2-year deals, he really started this.
Well, really, it started in 2010. I remember covering that. You know, I covered that closely when he went to Miami in 2010. And I thought, okay, the next few summers will calm down. But it's really ratcheted up every summer. If it's not LeBron, then it's Kevin Durant or some Carmelo Anthony.
Next
or
summer,
some
Ben
other
Simmons.
Big star.
You know, you never know.
Not next summer. Come on, man. Relax.
We'll talk about that
Stop
later.
trying to take Ben out of Philadelphia. You and Colin. He doesn't need to join the Lakers right now.
But does he want to?
He needs to stay in
Oh,
Philadelphia.
no, we just brought it back to basketball.
Exactly.
That's your fault, Chris.
Well,
come on.
Look, one thing I'd say, I would like to see baseball promote its individuals more. That's I think David Stern.
That's easier said than done.
I think David Stern, the former NBA commissioner, was the greatest commissioner in American sports because he had a lot of obstacles. He had a league that when he took over was about 80% black, African American. They had their troubles, you know, with drugs in the 70s, and the league had a horrible reputation. Games were on tape delay, and whether he consciously did it or not, but there was somehow there was a decision made to market individuals rather than just teams, and that has created individuals on every team that you want to see. DeMarcus Cousins was in Sacramento, but you know what? You wanted to see Boogie Cousins. The team was horrible, but you wanted to see Boogie Cousins.
You wanted to wait for his implosion, really.
In Atlanta, I want to see Trae Young. I know they're going to be bad,
but
I want to see Trae Young play.
You're the only one.
No, I'm not.
Did you watch him in Summer League?
Yeah, he made second team. He
Again,
averaged
we're on basketball.
19 points.
Jeez.
My point is,
you keep doing
baseball's got players they can market. Aaron Judge, you can market. I know he's not the most, you know, colorful guy in the world or charismatic guy, but he's got some charisma. He's a tremendous athlete. He's hitting homers out the park. You got Bryce Harper, obviously is marketable. I think they need to latch on to some of these guys and really put them out there like basketball did.
The problem with that is baseball's very regional. You know, if you're the Seattle Mariners fan, you don't really care about Aaron Judge.
But why not make them care?
Why?
You
why
should
someone in Seattle care about Aaron Judge?
Why does somebody in New York care about Russell Westbrook?
Basketball's more of an inner city sport. Baseball's not.
It's a suburban sport nowadays.
Well,
I'm serious.
All the stars come.
All the stars are no. Carl Anthony Towns is from the suburbs. Kyrie Irving's from the suburbs.
Carl Anthony Towns a star?
Yes.
Oh, boy. We're back on basketball. Again, you're obsessed with basketball, Chris.
All right, look, man. Car shopping can be confusing with terms like dealer price, list price, invoice. TrueCar shows you what other people pay for the car you want so you can recognize a good price. When you're ready to buy a new or used car, visit TrueCar to enjoy a more confident car buying experience. And with that, let's go to veteran newsman John Goulet.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
So, guys, obviously the big news of the week, the Spurs trading Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green to the Raptors for DeMar DeRozan and draft pick. DeRozan wasn't happy after he was assured the Raptors would not trade him. Well, Raptors president Masai Ujiri opened up a press conference today with an apology to DeRozan by saying there was a, quote, gap in miscommunication leading to the trade. DeRozan just put this post up on Instagram. It is his hand over forehead. What is a gap in miscommunication?
Dude, they are digging a deeper hole.
Double negative,
Just
right?
stop.
I love Masai Ujiri, but gap in communication. It was a straight out lie.
Just own it.
Yeah. And look, I will say this. I get why executives oftentimes don't, tell the media and even players the truth. It's tough because if the trade falls apart, now you got a guy who's comes back and he knows you wanted to move him. So it's difficult, but you're just probably better off saying either nothing or going to him and saying, look, DeMar, we are talking with San Antonio. I don't know if it's going to happen, but there is a possibility you could be moved. I think, look, it's cliche, but in this case, it's certainly true. Honesty is the best policy.
Couldn't they have just said, we weren't planning on trading him, but then we had a chance to get Kawhi Leonard and we had to change our mindset? I mean, I think that's fair, right? When healthy.
Chris, I heard you talking earlier this week. You think they're the second best team in the East, right? Let's just quickly go over this.
I think they'll make the conference finals.
A 59-win team dumps their head coach, who was the coach of the year. 59-win team dumps the face of their franchise, their leading scorer. They're coming off getting swept by LeBron, and now you've got this embarrassment. I mean, if you're the rest of that locker room, you're looking around like, geez, am I next? Like, what's going on here? Is there any love at all? I just think that the gas about the Raptors being an awesome team this year, I'm pumping the brakes on that. We do not know how that locker room is going to work out. The talent is there, but I've got major concerns on the Raptors.
They're no different than any other locker room. This has happened to teams all over the place.
Because a lot of locker rooms trade the face of their franchise.
Look at what Boston did to Isaiah Thomas. He played through the playoffs after his sister dies tragically with an injury, and they trade him for Kyrie Irving in the offseason.
Kyrie had more than a year left on his contract. All season.
My point is
Kawhi,
the locker room.
Are you going? Kawhi, what's the deal? They're not going to be asking that with Kyrie Irving.
The locker room didn't say, look at what they did to Isaiah. Am I next? This is a business. Players understand it. 29 other teams could have been in the same situation. So
Isaiah was the face of the franchise for a year, maybe. DeMar DeRozan like 7.
Dude, it's fine as far as that's concerned. Look, money talks. If they offer more money than other places, players will go there. They might not stay superstars, but players will go there.
To the NFL, Deshaun Watson doesn't expect to be limited at the start of Texans training camp this week. In fact, Watson expects to be a full go and is clearly feeling extremely optimistic about the season. Here's what he told the NFL Network yesterday when asked how he felt.
I feel great. I'm getting ready for next week when we report to Greenbrier, and I'm going to be full go.
Like training camp great, or like I'm going to throw 50 touchdowns great?
Both. I'm going 50 plus, so I'm going for it all.
Well, what's a realistic expectation for Watson if you don't buy his 50 touchdowns?
I love this guy. Don't ask me because I'm gassed up on him. I said on the herd.
50 touchdowns?
I said on the herd last fall I would take Deshaun Watson over Cam Newton. We'll ask our guest that next. But I'm telling you, I love everything about Deshaun Watson. That offense is stacked.
Except
great
for his
receivers.
knees that tear frequently.
Okay, he had the injury, but I'm telling you, he was on pace to set every rookie quarterback record imaginable. Peyton Manning's records was going to be slayed. This dude was the truth last year. I love Watson. I'm excited.
I'm all in. I mean, I don't know that I'm 50 touchdowns in, but I do like Deshaun Watson. I thought he was tremendous last year.
How about 50 combined, running and passing?
That's a lot to ask.
He gets 10 and 40? Is that doable?
You say that very casually.
Exactly. You say that like that's just...
Did you see what he put up in 6 games?
Do you know what you just said?
Did you see what he put up in 6 games?
Yeah, I don't think as great as he is, and I think he's going to be great.
I know.
I don't think you're going to keep up that pace. I'm all in on Deshaun. I can't wait to see him. I just hope he stays healthy.
And finally, speaking of mediocre teams with way too high expectations, the Jaguars surprised a lot of people last season, made it all the way to the AFC Championship game, damn near made the Super Bowl. Some Jags players are feeling like things will only get better. TMZ Sports caught up with Jags defensive tackle Malik Jackson. He had a very aggressive prediction for the upcoming season. Here's what he said.
I think we're going 16-0. You know 16-0? I've called it 16-0. You know, I don't think anybody can beat us as long as we stay healthy and do what we're supposed to do. You know, nobody had us last year. We went to the AFC Championship and we were this close. So I think we'll build our character, and I think we're going to be all right.
Guys, they were 10-6 last year, not like 14-2 and almost. They were a good team that upset one team in the playoffs. Step back year, they still going to be just as good? Where do you have them?
I expect a good season, but come on, 16-0. There's been one team in NFL history to do that. Even the Dolphins, who went 17-0, there's 14 regular season games. So I am out on this. There's no way I see them going 16-0, although I do see them making the playoffs and making a good run.
I think the hunter versus the hunted will be at play this year for the Jazz, especially Blake Bortles. The defense is coming after him. But this defense is good enough that I think they're more likely to sniff 16-0 than to fall back from 10-6. Does that make any sense or no?
You got them in the playoffs.
I have them in the playoffs. Listen, they led the Patriots 20-10 in Foxborough with like 9 minutes left. They had that game, gagged it away. I mean, this defense is the truth.
Team.
I mean, it's legit.
Still got the running game and
Leonard Fournette.
Bortles.
I love this. This team's fun to watch. We're actually not allowed to talk about the Jaguars because they have the smallest fan base of any NFL team. That's the truth.
All right, that's Goulet with the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
Let's bring in our next guest.
News.
Tremendous NFL guest, Bucky Brooks. Come on up here and let's talk some NFL football.
Let's go.
Man, y'all out there throwing big things.
Yeah.
Just dropping
Doing
50
big,
touchdowns.
bombs,
Just
right?
Come
anything.
on.
50
Is 50 low? Is 50 low?
50.
Passing and rushing. Is 50
How
way
often
too
has
high?
that been done? I'm trying to think, how often has that been done?
Deshaun Watson is not an ordinary player.
No, I mean, I love Deshaun. And I think Deshaun, in the draft, I think we all were wrong in terms of trying to judge the it factor. This is a kid that from the time he grew up, he's won at every level. And I think you saw the leadership ability, you saw the it factor displayed when he had an opportunity to play for the Texans. He made his coach look like a better coach.
Yes.
And I think that is what you're looking for as a franchise quarterback. He made Bill O'Brien look like a high-level coach, and that's something that we hadn't seen.
Didn't Bill O'Brien start the season with another quarterback supposedly beat out Deshaun Watson in camp? Remember? I've forgotten that guy's name. Do you even recall it?
Talking about Tom Savage. I think that's
How do you
the
pick
big
Tom Savage to start the season?
Well, I think they were trying to protect the young guy. I think the big thing for Deshaun Watson, you just didn't know how the transition was going to be. And we'll see it with all these young quarterbacks that play this year. How do they transition from the college game to the pro game? And what do their coaches do to kind of meet them halfway to allow them to have success?
I want to put you on the spot based on his comment just a few minutes ago. Deshaun Watson or Cam Newton? Who you taking?
Man, that's tough because Cam Newton is an extraordinary talent. Cam Newton has rare qualities that you just don't find. I would still opt for, in a perfect draft, I would take a Cam Newton over Deshaun Watson. I think they're very similar, and I think you should understand that these guys are very, very tight. Deshaun Watson and Cam have had a relationship since I think Deshaun Watson was in high school. Okay. So there's this kind of big brother, little brother thing. I think when you look at them, they're very, very similar in terms of the way they go about their business. Both guys are kind of the Pied Piper. When players are around them, they're easily liked. They do a great job of leading. I think the one thing that's different in Deshaun Watson, I think he has a level of maturity that Cam Newton didn't have at this same stage. And I think that may lead him to have a little more success, a little more sustained success. But in a perfect world, I would take Cam Newton just because of the size and the freakish athleticism.
Let me follow up. You just said something interesting. So at this age, Watson has more maturity. Has Cam Newton matured? We've seen this offseason. You know, the last season he had the issue with the reporter, the female reporter in Charlotte, and then we know this offseason he got on that video at the flat 7-on-7.
Yeah, but
the way he dresses,
I mean, he's a little essential, but you know what? That's the new school. Like I have a 14-year-old son that he wears skinny
like
jeans
Cam.
and all that other stuff.
14-year-old.
Yeah, and like
wow.
they're different. But I will say this when it comes to Cam, and I saw the video that went viral about 7-on-7 and stuff like that. Look, Cam is very involved in that 7-on-7 space, and so from a basketball stand, it is almost like having Chris Paul has an AAU team. It is the same kind of stuff. Like when the trash talking gets going, you're in it or whatever. It's almost like playing the dozens. And I think the thing that you can respect about Cam is in it and he's engaged with the kids. And I think what we caught was a snippet of him going back and forth with some kids that gave it to him like he gives it to them.
James Harrison was on Last Hour, and he had made, comments yesterday about Bill Belichick being better than Mike Tomlin as a coach, which nobody would deny that. But he said Tomlin needs to become more disciplined. And I asked him, I brought up, look, when a coach has been a certain way, if he's been kind of loosey-goosey, that may be too far for Tomlin, but, kind of loosey-goosey, players coach, and then all of a sudden, 10 years in or whatever, he wants to become a disciplinarian, can that even happen?
You can't do it because you'll lose the locker room. You can reinvent yourself at your next gig, but in Pittsburgh, he has to be the way that he has always been. Mike Tomlin is very, very similar to Pete Carroll in terms of the way they go about their thing. It's a little different than what the traditional coaches would say you have to be with players. I think he is a guy that holds his players accountable, but you're right. The detail that James Harrison described about the New England Patriots, and he's the first guy that I've ever heard kind of share the secret sauce in New England. I think you can see the difference between a Pittsburgh and a New England. You can see that when you go to New England, it's about business, it's about discipline, it's about details. Everybody's kind of treated the same. It is very, I would call it almost militaristic in terms of the way they go about it. Tomlin tries to empower his players to be men, to have the leaders kind of lead the team and take over. And sometimes, if you're not careful with that, the leaders can kind of let you down. And we have seen some of the issues that he's had with Ben Roethlisberger, kind of throwing coaches under the bus, some of the stuff with Antonio Brown, like all of that stuff. And so when you try to empower them, you hope that your guys are mature enough to handle the power that you give them. In New England, he goes about it completely different. He is the sole voice. Everyone falls in line up under him, which is why it's a little level of consistency in terms of the things that we hear come out of that locker room.
Hey, let me ask a Dallas Cowboys question that's going to scare a lot of people. When you look at the rookie contract situation, how it's easy for teams to win with the quarterback on the cheap rookie deal, the window seems to be closing for Dak Prescott because he's looking to get paid here in very short order. If the Cowboys don't do it this year, do you foresee problems in the immediate future for them?
Oh, I think they have to do it this year because I think when you have a starting quarterback, and he started 32 games, so every game since his rookie season he started. He goes another 16 games. He has 48 starts. You have to pay him like a starter. You can't continue to pay him on a fourth-round deal. I think what you said is something that a lot of people are trying to do when they build their team. The perfect thing that you can get is to get a quarterback on a cheap deal so you can build everything around them, and then you hope that over that 4-year period, he grows up enough that when it's time to pay him, he is ready to become the driving force of that offense.
Russell Wilson in Seattle, right?
Russell Wilson in Seattle, because as it changes and Russell Wilson kind of becomes the cause or the driving force of the team, you now have to jettison some of those other guys that you're paying. In Dallas, look, Zeke Elliott is on a deal that maybe they never have to adjust it. Maybe they just ride with Zeke until his deal runs out and then they move on and find the running back. I'm just saying, that's the theory in some rooms.
Because with running backs, right?
With running backs, draft a running back high, ride him until the wheels fall off. The last year of his deal, draft another one and give him a parting gift.
Cold-blooded.
That is how some people view it. I don't necessarily view that position like that, but I think it depends on how do the Dallas Cowboys view Zeke Elliott. How does Dak Prescott begin to ascend and become a high-level quarterback? If it becomes a situation where he is the guy that is the franchise quarterback, the team is winning because of him, he is elevating the play of others, then I didn't think you can make some of those tough decisions when it comes to how do we support him, how do we build a team around him.
Great stuff, Bucky. Thanks a lot. Carmelo Anthony's career can end one of two ways, and how it ends is entirely up to him. That's next on The Herd.
Tonight on FS1, Ice Cube's Big 3 basketball is live from Miami. Baron Davis, Nate Robinson, and more legends of the game go head-to-head in a 3-on-3 competition you won't want to miss. Catch it live on FS1 at 8 p.m. Eastern or stream it live on the Fox Sports app.
Welcome back to The Herd. Chris Broussard and Jason McIntyre in for Colin Cowherd. The Big 3, I'll tell you, look, Baron Davis and Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf been lighting it up. Fun to watch.
If you're gambling on the Big 3, take the under. The game, I believe, South Beach tonight. This weekend, Miami's going to be popping.
Well, there's a guy who might be in the Big 3 soon.
Ooh, he'd be so lucky.
You would like to put him in this year.
My guy, Steven Jackson.
I'd rather see him in Houston playing in the NBA this season. My man, Carmelo Anthony. I've been teasing it all show. I want to make a plea to Melo. All right? Cue the music.
Oh, woo!
Dear Melo, I've been a fan since you were lighting it up with your feathery jump shot at Oak Hill Academy, Syracuse, and even in Denver. When people said you're not a winner, I said he led Syracuse to the national championship. I said as a rookie, he led a 17-win team to the playoffs in the Western Conference. I said when he finally got a leader as a teammate, Chauncey Billups, he pushed Kobe Bryant and Pau Gasol and Andrew Bynum in the Western Conference Finals. So I got your best interest at heart, Melo. And I'm telling you, you've got an option. You can go out one of two ways. You can go out like Ray Allen, Gary Payton, Bill Walton, Bob McAdoo, heck, even Vince Carter. You can go out gracefully like those guys, and Paul Pierce, where you accept your role. You understand you're not what you used to be. And you go to a team, and whether you start or come off the bench, you play a role and you help them become maybe a champion, if we're talking about the Houston Rockets. Or you can go out like Allen Iverson. That's no slight on AI. He's an icon. He's a Hall of Famer. He's all that. But he never could accept that his time had passed, that he was no longer the number one guy, the superstar, and he was cut after 3 games by the Memphis Grizzlies. He got a charity contract with the Philadelphia 76ers and played the last 25 games there, unceremoniously, not befitting of an NBA superstar like Allen Iverson. I don't want you to go out like that, Melo. Go out on top. Go out as a great 6 man. Go out as a guy that gives me 14 points off the bench and helps a team reach great heights. That's the choice before you, Melo. I hope you do the right thing.
That nearly brought a tear to my eye, Chris Broussard. Jeez. The revisionist history.
What revisionist history?
Oh boy. Okay, let me.
Name one thing in there that was wrong.
First of all, shout to Chris Broussard. I thought he was reading that off some teleprompter. That was off the top of your head.
I used to be an MC.
That
freestyle.
Was incredible, Broussard.
Battle rap was my
All
specialty.
right, so let's go back. I just looked this up while you were, making me cry here. That 17-win team when they accelerated to 43.
Yes.
They also added Andre Miller and Vashawn Leonard, who both averaged 14 a game.
Hold on. Vashawn Leonard? Vashawn Leonard isn't even in the big 3 right now.
Andre Miller also averaged 14 a game. So I'm just saying it wasn't all Melo. Now,
it was mostly
the producer of this show, of my radio show, came up with an amazing Carmelo number. Are you ready for this?
If it's negative, no.
It's negative. So last season, among players who took 15 or more shots, there were 37 of them in the league. Carmelo ranked 37th, dead last, points per game. PER, that's player efficiency rating. True shooting, all of them. He was dead last. I'm telling you, man, I loved Carmelo in New York initially before he ran Jeremy Lin out of town.
Will you stop it with the Jeremy
Carmelo
Lin?
at Syracuse. I grew up as a Syracuse Georgetown fan. That's for another show. And I got to just say, he is so inefficient. He don't play a lick of defense. Carmelo Anthony's washed. And I don't think he's going to help Houston. I think that locker room's going to implode. I know Antonio Daniels said some good things about, he's going to listen to Chris Paul. And
even if he accepts, even if he takes my advice,
that role.
The plea, I think he's going to listen to the plea.
Oh, yeah.
Even if he listens,
optimistic Chris Broussard. I love it.
Flatter me, okay? Even if he listens to the plea and says, okay, I'm not what I used to be. I'm going to be a role player. You still don't think he can.
And then he's going to be like, wait, whoa, hold up. Ennis? Who's this Ennis guy playing for more minutes than me? Getting more shots. This is who he is. Listen, this is a good moment.
Gary Payton was that way.
This is a good moment.
Paul Pierce was that. Everybody was that way at one point.
For me to incorporate the scorpion and the frog. You know this story, right? So the scorpion needs a ride across the river. So he asks the frog, hey, can I get a piggyback ride across the river? And the frog's like, no, man, you're going to sting me. You're a scorpion. He's like, why would I do that? We'll both die and drown. So this frog's like, you know what? Okay, we'll bring you on, scorpion. Halfway across the river, what happens? The scorpion stings the frog. The frog's like, we're dying. Looks up at the scorpion. Why would you do that? And the scorpion says, that's who I am, man. That's what I do. Carmelo Anthony is a scorpion. He is going to sting that Houston Rockets locker room. It's going to be ugly. I feel bad for Mike D'Antoni, and I wish Chris Paul and James Harden the best.
That was a cute Mr. Rogers moment. Okay, your little tail.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll take it.
But Chris Paul changed. Chris Paul had been a ball-dominant number 1 guy, always handling the ball, dribbling all the time. When he went to Houston, you and I, that's why you thought it wouldn't work.
I thought it would be a debacle.
And for the record,
and I'm taking a lot of heat. I'm taking a lot of heat. I knew that would come up.
Never liked
Somebody's
Houston.
feeding you that in your ear.
You've never liked Houston, okay? But it worked. He changed. So they have a prime example of a guy that changed.
Give me an over-under win total for your Rockets. Because they're yours now. They're yours. I got the Lakers. You got the Rockets.
They're going to win at least 55.
Woo!
At least 55.
All right, we're going to have to put a wager
55.
on that.
All right, look, we started the show off talking about LeBron and the new mural, which I think the new mural of him looking up to the Laker greats is very appropriate. It's not a slight on LeBron. I don't think anybody should take it that way. But it's saying, look, what they have rings and what they did deliver championships to L.A., that's what I'm looking to do. I want to join them and deliver a championship to L.A. That's how I take it. I think that's much more appropriate than the King of L.A. mural that got defaced earlier. That's not slight on LeBron. He had nothing to do with it. But it should have said, welcome to L.A., King James. I think that would have been received much better.
When I look at the sports landscape in L.A., it's awesome right now. Rams and Chargers are going to be very good.
True.
L.A. Kings have a rich history.
Chip Kelly,
a couple
UCLA.
Soccer teams. Ooh, yes, Chip Kelly, UCLA. USC has an awesome young quarterback coming in. And I just, Dodgers went to the World Series, Manny Machado.
Anaheim.
All that. Add it all up. The king of L.A. is LeBron James. Hasn't played a game. Hasn't had a press conference. He is the king
Right now,
of
nobody
LA.
doubts that.
He is, and that's why I had no issue with the
nobody
mural.
took it like that.
Well, that's their
they
problem.
They took it as and they took it as a slight to, first of all, Kobe, because he's the most recent, but also to Shaq and Magic and Kareem.
That's just
you
dumb.
don't set foot. I don't care who Boston got.
You act like LeBron painted the thing himself.
No, I said before, no slight on LeBron. It's not LeBron's fault. Bring Kevin Durant to Boston, and you put up a mural that says King of Boston, and it ain't going to sit well, baby.
Nickname. It's not his nickname, dude. King James has been his nickname for his whole career. Come on.
King is fine. Like I said, welcome to L.A., King James.
Okay.
He's not. He's the king of LA in terms of being the best player, athlete right now.
He's also the best player to ever wear a Lakers jersey. We would agree?
Yes,
okay, but
Kevin
you got to
deliver some
Kevin
championships.
Durant would not be the best ever in a Celtics jersey.
If
Not
LeBron went
yet.
to Boston, I'd say the same thing.
I would not.
You don't deface those guys like that.
It's not
and that's
defacing.
not LeBron's fault. He wouldn't. I
Can
don't
we
think
get another
LeBron
hour?
would do that.
Can we have another hour here?
You don't want another hour. Believe me, you do not want none of this. You glad it's winding up.
Yes.
This has been great, man. I enjoyed it with you. Thank you for helping me. Thanks to Colin for letting us sit in on the herd. He'll be back Monday.